Let's go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone. Good morning. Thanks for meeting us early here. If you haven't heard, we have donuts, we got notebooks, water. We'll get more water if you need water. We have activity guides, and then everyone should be logged into Workday. I think most of you here were here last week. So if not, no worries. We'll catch you up. We'll get started with introductions. My name's Lauren. I think I presented. Yeah, I presented to you all last week. That's the one presenting. Awesome. And then we have Spence here with us today. He's also from Cognizant. Any introductions? Anything you want to share with the group? He's the one that brought the donuts.
I was talking just a moment ago, and I began my journey at BYU as an EFY counselor wearing a polo and khakis. So I haven't gone very far from that. I'm wearing polo and khakis. There's just a different logo on my sleeve. So grateful to be here with you. I've been on the project for 2 years plus, so I feel pretty acquainted with your system, and Lauren too. So
yes, happy to be here. And then we have Mish. You all probably know Mish. She's joining us today.
Everybody, I'm here to assist and ask any questions that you may have.
Yes, she'll help us answer questions. And then we also have Catherine on the screen. I don't think she's able to join us today, so but she was here last week, which was awesome. Okay, so today we're going to talk about some recruiting overview and tools. We're going to look at the tools we have as recruiters and how to access all the information we need. And then we're going to walk through the different steps of recruiting. We're going to talk about screen, interview, clearance, offer, and then we're going to get our candidate all the way ready for hire today. They're going to turn into a pre-hire, so we're going to talk about that briefly. And we're going to go through a staff employee type for our demonstrations and our activities. And then we have additional slides about students, faculty, adjunct, and affiliate. But from my understanding, this group, we don't recruit and hire faculty. Is that correct?
Correct.
Anyone in the room need information on that? No? What about adjunct? Nope. Students?
Students.
Okay, so this will be a little bit shorter today, which is awesome. Faculty, it takes a minute to do the demo. So we're going to talk about staff and students. I just wanted to double check. So that's the majority of what we'll be talking about today. And then maybe we'll get out of here a little early. Before we begin, we have our safe harbor statement. We are in a training environment like last week. So some things you may see in here, it might be old data. Configuration might change at go live. We are getting close to go live, so it's looking generally what it's going to look like, but again, things may be subject to change. Okay. Did you guys get an email about Workday training and e-learning come to your inbox yesterday, 2 days ago?
Yep.
For Mikilani.
Yeah.
Yes, for Mikilani. Okay, awesome. So we have a slide in here just to remind you guys about that. So we have some e-learning training going on for, it looks like SDM, Program Committee, and Steering Committee that went out. So that includes you all. That's an e-learning training you're going to take. Big call out, it says at bold, don't forward it to other people. They're going to be getting their own training. You can see here on the timeline, October 14th, Dean and Directors are going to get, and Change Champion Networks is going to get training. October 21st is when staff and faculty will get their trainings, and November 4th is when student employees will get it. So we have different training coming out, but yeah, you guys have more training to do on your own, which is awesome. And then transitioning into this slide, we're about 2 months away from go live. That's why training's coming out. So, excuse me, I feel like I have to sneeze, but so with this slide, important dates are coming out. You're going to be receiving communications like we mentioned last week. One date we wanted to call out is December 4th. That's the last time you can submit new e-forms. If you're hiring people in December 6th. Did I say the 4th, I think? December 6th. Thank you. And yes, look out for communications. Mish, do you have anything else about the cutover timeline, or Spence you wanted to call out?
We are gathering information and trying to just make sure we've got everything covered for a cutover meeting that will be coming up in the very near future, hopefully next week. So we'll get that with your leadership and get that going as well. But those dates are good tentative dates that we want campus to know about.
Awesome, thank you. Okay. Okay, like last week, just some important notes about security and training. So we're going to be completing tasks in your role as an HR business partner or ops specialist. You guys see a lot of people you support. We saw that last week because this is unified. This week, I think there's a couple people in the room who weren't here and weren't able to catch up on training activities. We'll either get something staged for you or you can follow along. We're going to have a makeup session next week just for activities. We're not going to present again, so this is when we'll be presenting, but we'll have a makeup session just for activities. And then you're going to also have those lab sessions to walk through scenarios as a group. If you are not seeing the correct security today, we have our QR codes here. You can fill those out, explain what the problem is, what you're missing, and our security team will work on it. And then after go live, you will be able to submit a ticket in the Workday Help Center. Okay, like last week, Workday Training Hub, that's when you take your check-in survey at the end of it. Our activity guides are posted there. Slides from last week might be there. I think we changed the format. Let me look. Okay, so now we're gonna have everything for you in one session. So you guys are group D. Yep, you are group D. So now you'll see recruiting week 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it's just gonna be in one kind of like area for you. Section. And so yeah, they have the check-in survey from last week if you missed it, week 1 activity guide, the slides are there, awesome, and the video. So you can go access all of that. And then this stuff will be posted as well. Okay, so where are we at in our recruiting process? So last week we talked about a lot of things. We talked about positions, job catalog, requisitions, we had our job posted and our external candidate applied. Today we are on candidate management. So we're going to talk about the recruiting pipeline. We're going to talk about the screening, interview, background checks, all of that, all the way to offer letter, the candidate signing the offer letter. And then next week, we'll talk about hiring employees, compensation, all of that, to onboarding. We'll talk about onboarding a lot next week. Okay, we have a couple knowledge check questions. Spencer already gave away the donuts, so there's no bribery, but hopefully we can call these out. We have about maybe 6 or 7 couple knowledge check questions from last week to see if you guys remember what we talked about. So call it out in the room, raise your hand, whatever you'd like. What is the purpose of a Workday business process? Does anyone remember? What is a business process? Oh, I might have to go around and be like, whoever got a donut? Anyone remember? Yes.
Isn't a business process just the same thing as like an e-form today? Like it's the same idea of being able to get people's stuff into the system that they should pass along.
Nisha's nodding her head. I'm not super familiar with what e-forms look like today, but yeah. So, yes. Yep, it is. It defines how tasks and approvals flow through the system. Yep. So I think our example last week was requesting an absence, an employee requests an absence, a manager approves it, and then they have the day off. So yeah, awesome. Okay, next one. How can you find an open position in a supervisory organization? Where can you go find an open position, an open seat?
The org chart.
The org chart, yeah, I like to always go to the org chart. You can also go to the staffing tab in the supervisory organization as well. But I like finding it through the org chart. I like seeing it visually, that open seat sitting there. Okay, who in Workday has the ability to create a job requisition? Managers, yep.
Business partner.
Business partners.
Ops center.
Yep, ops specialists, awesome. Okay. Where can you find a job requisition you created? There's a couple different ways. And we're going to have to find it. Where can you find that job rec we created last week?
Search menu.
Search bar.
JR:294, whatever.
I thought I heard someone say tasks. Yeah, you can go to your archive and find what you've done, what you've acted on in your archive. And then today we'll show you more ways through recruiting tools, recruiting hub, we can find our job recs in case you forget the number, which you might if you have a lot of job recs. Okay, this might be one of, we're almost there. Okay, what is the difference between an evergreen requisition and a standard job requisition?
Evergreen is ones that multiple jobs come through. It's always open.
Always open. Yeah, awesome. And then that job rec is for one position or one chair. We create a job rec and it's for the specific seat. For the evergreen, yeah, it's for multiple chairs, maybe student dining or something. They're applying a bunch. Yes.
A job rec can be for multiple chairs as well. And then another big difference for this group is the evergreen does not have positions on it. A job rec has positions.
Yeah, you can create a job rec for multiple positions,
Yes.
but then it leads to like, yeah, I guess the evergreen stays open.
Yeah.
Good call out. Yes. Okay, and then how are managers involved in recruiting today? I think this is our last one, in Workday. How are managers involved in recruiting? We said one earlier. They can create job recs. Did someone else say something? Yeah, they have the ability to screen, and we'll look at that today. Yeah, they're the hiring managers. So our big call out here is they have increased responsibility, more visibility into recruiting for the candidates that they are recruiting and hiring.
Something interesting is we're looking at this concept, right? You have multiple people that are within a business process, and we want the person who knows the information to enter the information. The example I like to give that's in comparison is for W-4s. I worked in HR, and my role was to put in people's direct deposit information because they fill out a piece of paper, right? And then I typed it in and hope I didn't get it wrong. And then we did that pre-validation with the bank. We pre-noted it, all that stuff, right? So with Workday, and when we made that transition when I was in HR, we removed the pre-noting. We removed the step of me putting it in, and we moved it to the employee because they are the most interested in getting their pay. So they're the most interested in getting their bank account details right. So if you think about that as we move through today and other sessions, when we were talking with the faculty groups, know that this was a big sticking point because the chairs have a very increased role. Those hiring managers, they're the chairs of the department. Wow, why are we having them do this? Are we really nervous about that? So we might feel and express more of a hands-on approach in helping people do their job effectively instead of taking it over and just doing it for them on their behalf.
Definitely. Yeah, thank you for that call out. Yeah, it'll be a big change for hiring faculty, but yeah, that's kind of the core of Workday. Whoever knows it and does it, like expense reports, you fill it out yourself. Oh, we have one more. Okay, this is the last one. Which part of job architecture is the most narrow? So we had that slide last week. We talked about job families, job profiles, and job family groups. Which is the most narrow?
Isn't it the profile?
Yeah, it's the profile. Yep. So all attached to the position, but the job profile really defines those characteristics. And then the job family is the next one, and then the job family group kind of covers like all student workers. That's the group, and then we have our job family, which may be student worker 1, student worker 2, like we talked about last week. Okay, awesome. Thank you. I know it's early in the morning for knowledge check questions, so thank you for participating. Okay, so continuing from last week where we left off. So we left off applying as an external candidate. So today we're going to move that candidate through the recruiting process, and we talked about those people in the room who haven't done that, so no worries, you don't need to raise your hand. But we're going to keep moving forward with that. If you remember your login, yeah, you can log in to the external, to the candidate homepage. You're welcome to kind of take a look at what that looks like. If you don't remember your login, not a problem at all. That is okay. We were hoping people would, but again, it's a little tricky when you create a fake name, fake email, so we'll be able to work around it. Okay, so let's talk about navigating recruiting. So on the left side of your screen, you're going to see the recruiting hub. It's kind of like gray buttons. There's a couple different buttons. You can see them up here. You'll probably get very familiar and comfortable with these. But this is how you're going to find job requisitions and move candidates through the process. So these are great tools to use as a business partner or ops specialist, as a recruiter. So we're just going to talk about those. So we have the recruiting button, which is going to be a view of list of recruiting inbox items. So it's kind of going to be an overview. and we're going to take a look at all of this in our first activity. We have the job requisitions button, which you're going to be able to view the open requisitions where you're assigned as a primary recruiter and have available steps to take. We have the candidates button, and that's going to display candidates for any open requisition within your security access. We'll take a look at what you guys can see and what security you have. And then we have our dashboard, and we're going to be able to view actions, statuses, and a list of requisitions in various stages. So we're going to walk through all of these, but you'll be able to find, which tool, is the most helpful to you, where you're going to be able to navigate to find all the information you need in Workday. Is everyone seeing that bar on the left? Awesome. Okay. No, we got a no. No, right here. Were you here last week? No worries if not. Oh, right there? No, not right below. You seeing it? You're not seeing it. Okay, no worries. You're not seeing it. Okay, you have to be assigned as primary recruiter to be able to see it. So we'll just point you in a different direction to be able to pull up information, but you're able to follow along. And you might not be seeing it
I'm
as
gonna
well.
go through the steps. I think.
No worries. I know, it's taking a minute. We can follow up. We'll get your name, follow up with the security team. You can even fill out the QR code maybe yourself and explain. Yeah, just to be sure.
Are you doing it, Geraldine, or?
Yeah, the QR code's actually right here too on that side of them. We made it super handy. Yeah, no worries. Spence will walk around and he'll point you in a different direction when we get to the activity. Just go to the activity. Okay, so let's talk about the different screens. So the first one we have is recruiting. This is kind of an overview. Like I mentioned, we can see, where candidates are at. Are they in screen? Are they in assessment, interview, reference check, offer? So you're able to see how many candidates are in which stage. You can see new internal candidates, new referred candidates, offer tasks, clearance tasks. So super helpful overview page here. Might not be super populated for you, but we can find someone in the room who has information. I'm seeing Misha's got some information, so if you want to come take a look, I bet she's happy to share when we get to the activity. Okay, next, we're talking about clicking on a job requisition here on this slide. So this isn't one of the buttons on the left. This is when we click into an actual blue link of a job requisition. You search the name of the job requisition, you click on it. We're going to see this pipeline, which is a super great view. On the job requisition, we can see the overview, the candidates who have applied. We can see details. That's how we found the external link to our job posting. You'll find the job postings here. We looked at this last week. And now we'll see our pipeline because we have a candidate who applied. And Mish, again, correct me if I'm wrong with this group. Like in the past, you'll see your candidates once they're approved kind of by like the central recruiting. Is that the same for this group?
These are the people that
These
do
are
that.
the people that approve
Yes.
it. Okay, that's what I was wondering. You guys are the people, so you'll see candidates before them. The other units, like the departments and stuff, they don't see their candidates in this pipeline until they're approved. Then they appear. They have a candidate applied who went through the initial like screening or approvals by you all. So thank you for that call.
Sorry,
Okay.
just dumb question, but are we supposed to see that tornado-looking thing in the job requisitions page?
You're supposed to see it when you click into a job rec. Sometimes you maybe come.
I'm not saying a tornado.
If you're on one and you go to the top open
I'm really
detailed
good at
view, you'll see it.
Yeah, there
Sorry,
you go.
what?
Open detailed view. Or you search in the search bar. Yep. Now you're seeing what candidate. You have one candidate in screen. Yep, and I think we searched it last week. This pulls up the job rec details, or you can expand it.
The other ones you click through.
Is that how we're defined as a research?
And it's a delivered pipeline. It's not in the order that we do
On the
things.
details then. Yeah. So I just wanted to figure that out. So if I'm in the job rec,
Second, job
and I'm clicking on a specific.
Yep, this is just a quick view. Where they're at, where the screen's at.
You need to be in the second one.
Just quick step.
This is just, it gives you a summary of what's there, and then if you click on the top open detailed view, you can see that. You're right in it now.
This will take all the screens.
And you were ahead of me.
I was trying to use that.
And so if we have this snapshot, this was just
All of them. Just have one. That's you normally.
Yeah, we're kind of security. Okay, you can type in JR or whatever and see if you have access to where it's expensive. Okay, awesome. And we're gonna take a minute too with the activity, but you're welcome to follow along right now. Okay. Job requisitions. This is the job requisitions. Where did I leave off? Sorry, I slipped. Perfect. This is the job requisitions
Do you want from the overview
button.
to
Yes.
candidates to-
Yes. Thank you. I'm like, I switched slides. Just making sure I hadn't talked about this. So yep, you have your overview, you have your candidates here in the job requisitions. And then we have our details that we were looking at. You can see details, the requisition details and the hiring requirements. If we click on the organizations tab, we can see our company, our cost center, our program, fund, hiring office. And then we have our job postings like we looked at last week. So those are all the tabs within that job rec we opened.
Are we supposed to have all those tabs?
You have to expand details again to see the pipeline, like we did for the pipeline to see those tabs.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
We'll look
Awesome.
through this in a second.
Yeah, we'll look through this in the tenant. Awesome. Okay. Now we're talking about the buttons on the left again. We were talking all about job requisitions, and we'll look in the tenant. I'll show you kind of what we're viewing. But candidates. This is a button on the left. You can click on the candidates button and see all of the candidates, applications received, what stage they're in. I can see in the screenshot I have 18 in screen, 3 in assessment, 23 in interview. So a super good view to see your candidates. You can see the date they applied, the source. You can see what stage and step they're on next to the candidate name. You can click into the candidate name as well, pull up the candidate grid, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. And then last button on the left is the dashboard. This is where you have kind of, again, a recruiting overview. You can see your job requisitions. You have a couple reports. You can see your career site postings, a couple actions you can take from there, like you can create a job requisition. You can kind of configure this page as well at Go Live. Okay, so let's hop into the tenant. We'll do a demo and then we'll do an activity. Awesome. Okay, so I'm logged in as Harper HR. She's our fictitious training employee. Again, she might see a couple of things that you might not see just due to her security access. But again, you guys are seeing a lot of, you support a lot of organizations in work, so you'll see a lot too. Okay, so these are the buttons I was talking about here on the left. So let's click into a couple of them and then we'll give you time to look through them. So first I'll open the recruiting page, and this is where I'm seeing my inbox tasks. I have 10. I have 3 applications received, 4 in screen, 3 in offer. I can see new internal candidates, some screen tasks. So these are all your tasks that you have security access to see and do. Awesome. Next is the job requisitions button. This is where it's showing all of the job requisitions. Hello, welcome. We have an activity guide for you right there if you want to grab it. No worries. We have our job requisitions here, and this is where you can open up a job requisition. Let's go find a good one. You can scroll through. Okay, here we go. Training staff. That's one of the ones we were using. So here I can click into my job requisition. I can see the candidates who have applied. So Batman has applied to this job requisition. I can click on the resume that they attached here, actions, awaiting actions that they have. And then right here, this is where we'll see all those tabs we talked about in the pipeline if I open the detailed view. I can also get to it by searching in the search bar JR430 and opening up that blue link to the job requisition. So now I can see I have one application received. As they move through the process, they will move here. That number will move. So once he's in screen, it'll be in screen, assessment, interview. Again, I can click on this candidates tab here. So lots of different ways to view information you need. Details, we talked about this really quickly. Details about the requisition. I can see who the requester was. Our organizations, like we mentioned, our company, our cost center, program fund, and then our job postings. So this is where you'll find that external link. That's how we applied. Awesome. Okay, then the candidates button. We can open that up. We'll give it a moment. So I have a lot of candidates who have applied. I can see again kind of where they're at and what stage. I can scroll through a list of candidates. I can see the stage, the step, awaiting me. These are actions awaiting me. I have a screen I need to do, a to-do step here. I need to review this one for this faculty. So you can see all of the actions awaiting me, and you just click into that and take action from there. Okay, and then last one is our dashboard. Like I mentioned, this is going to pull up different reports and different views for you. You can see your open job requisitions. Again, it takes a minute to load, especially if you have a lot on this one. Perfect. So I'm seeing my recruiting jobs, my source effectiveness, which can be super helpful. And again, Mish, Spence, if you have any call-outs about like things that you like about this or how you've used this as a good tool, call it out. But this is all your information in one place. That's why it takes a minute to load.
I think that job requisition aging is kind of handy. You can see how long it's taking to fill, right? And
Right
it
here.
gives you that date, and it does it by person. So that's kind of neat to see based on your security if you have that, so that you can see, wow, how long is it taking for us to fill? So there's just some quick reports. Obviously, you do reporting now to people that matter, right? And want to know certain things, you yourself, your leadership. So this is just a nice dashboard. You can configure some of these reports to be different as well. So.
Yeah, by clicking on the gear icon. Yeah, we have source to pipeline as well. That can be definitely helpful.
What's amazing is we have this so readily available and visually there that when we are following up, like they've said, to close or fill job recs, this is where that you could go, the recruiting COE, just to follow up if they've been sitting in its status too long. So yeah, it's fantastic, really great,
Awesome.
great tool.
Okay, let's take 5 minutes. You guys can look through anything you want, grab water if you need water. You can do activity 2.1, exploring the recruiting hub. If you have any questions, we'll be walking around, let us know. No, I'm just gonna fill up my water. I'll get up and walk. Yeah, right.
Do you know if there's some items?
What?
Is it in that office?
Water?
Like the design bottles?
I know, I was like, oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, so she-
Yeah, we have more water. I was like, get water. I'm like, "There's more water." We can show you where there's also water in other places.
Lauren will share the water.
I know, I took the last one.
You could also just go to the.
Yeah, to the, yeah, I'm like, we'll show you.
The mineral market.
There's soda.
I didn't have cherry Coke Zero, so I did have to go to Dunkin' Reeds. That's important to me in my life. Yeah, here. On the floor. Yeah, I like the cherry Coke Zero. It's like my jam. If I don't, I want to like strap. Yeah. Something switched a few years ago. I drink a full serve soda.
So you
I just feel
so you will see all of
sugared out.
these.
I don't know.
So you should see.
Yeah, I can't do
Goes
it.
under
So once in a while, I keep
that.
it to the wrong one. So I would drink like just a little bit. Oh, I guess I'm done. Yeah, right? It's just something to sip on, you know? It'll be back. Yeah.
Do you like
There you go.
I think it's pretty good. I don't like Mexican touch. Actually, so we're bakers, my wife and I, and we tried using Mexican and our cookies are tasted raw.
There you go.
So we had this stuff. It's very strong, and it has like a cinnamon tone.
Yeah. So
Guys, a quick call out, the details of the job rec,
Oh, we
all the
love it.
information. If you reduce down all our employee types, that tab is where you would go to find out what type of job rec this is. So there is the
Yeah,
start,
it's just, we just do both.
we've got a number, so what does the number mean next to the job involved?
We're in
Correct,
Taylor.
yes, it's, non-executive.
Yeah, I talked about next week.
Because it's not quite as visible as it is in the
So like, it's tricky to bring figures.
Try to go to job rec
They're very good.
177.
Okay, any questions over here?
So you live up on the lucky room?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know people out there?
No.
You said it right, so it means something.
We would go hiking up on the lucky
Yeah.
room.
More candidates
Oh, yeah.
there.
Yeah, so,
Trying to get out of the
Applications
valley.
received.
Yeah, so I'm sure you don't miss that.
No, the heat was.
That's like next week.
Yeah, so we have a holiday house. I'll be going there this
Yeah,
weekend.
you'll have,
Keep the kids and
you'll
my
have,
wife right back here.
you'll have
And that's
more
it.
there.
Job rec.
So yeah, we're that there.
Today.
Application received.
Why do you know Dan?
Forward.
Well, if you live on the mountain, there's just things that are on the mountain. San Costco, inequality or you just end up eating out there once or every other month or so. And we were staying at hotels, and so we were like, is this what we want? Because we had to take the kids and pack everything, and the dogs, and all the things for the dogs.
That's why we created a
It's
hosting
okay to
program.
let's make an investment. So,
Always have.
it's an Airbnb most of the
Yeah.
time. We just had a guest check out yesterday, and then we'll be there this weekend. We only go every other month or so.
Yeah, basically we.
But yeah, it's so nice. We just pack it up. That's it. And everything else is there. All our, hair care products, all our.
Okay. Awesome, hope you had a minute to look at that. Again, you're always welcome to log in back at your desk through the website. Do the activities again. Okay, let's talk about the recruiting flow. So, let's talk about staff first. This is what we're going to be talking about. It sounds like what your guys are going to be, the employee type you'll be working with the most, staff and student. So, this is our recruiting flow. So, last week we created our job requisition, and then we had an external candidate apply or a candidate application. This can be internal or external. It's going to follow the same path. And then we had that initial screen already take place. That sounds like you guys. I already did it, so you don't have to worry about that. It's just a quick move forward button. You'll see it on our candidate grid. Next, we're going to have our screening and department review, our interviews. Then we'll move them to clearance. That's where the reference check, background check, ecclesiastical, honor code. We're going to talk about all of this, each of these steps more in depth. This is just our overview. And then next we'll do our clearances are completed and we're ready to move them to offer. The offer letter will be initiated. We'll extend an offer. We'll generate that offer letter. We'll send it to the candidate on that candidate homepage that I was talking about, and we'll pull that up. They'll sign it, and then they're ready to hire. They are not hired yet, but they are ready to be hired. So we'll talk about all of that. Awesome, so let's talk about screen. This is where we're at. We're at screen applicant, and you can see all the next steps that are coming next. So whether they were an internal or external candidate, they are in the screen stage. So this is that step I talked about. The recruiter, they will review the candidate and they will select to move the candidate to department review. Today this is called application received. And so on the candidate grid, they'll take a look at this and they'll move them forward to department review. Awesome. Okay. In department next department review, the primary recruiter. This is department review. We mean like the actual departments. They will do their own department review of the candidate. They'll see a candidate in their recruiter hub. They will review the candidate's profile information and determine which candidates are going to move forward in the requisition. So they'll look at their resume, they'll look at the questionnaire, they'll look at the different tabs on the candidate profile, and if it's faculty, they'll meet with the search committee. So this is when they're kind of doing all the normal things that they've already done outside of Workday. They're going to do their review of the candidates. Okay, quick call out. If a non-member applies, we wanted to call out before those steps happen or right after those steps happen, they are routed. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mish. It's right after those steps happen. They're routed or they routed directly to the vice president for an external non-member applicant.
So for non-members, you will see if they're a member or non-member, the department will not know. But if they try to interview them, the step will automate to VP approval required.
Perfect. Thank you.
Likewise for hire.
Awesome. I wanted to make sure it was right in the process. So yep, it'll be routed to a vice president to interview before they are moved on. Awesome. Okay, so let's talk about the candidate grid. Where are they going to find this information? Where are the departments? Where are you going to look for their resume, their questionnaires they've answered? That's on the candidate grid. So you're going to be able to access all the information about the candidate here. So we're going to jump into a demo and we're just going to take a look at this closer, and then we have an activity as well. You're welcome to follow along with me. Again, if you don't have a candidate, you can find a random candidate, see if you have access. Maybe we can walk around the room during the activity and find candidates if you have access to one. Okay, so I'm going to go find my candidate. My candidate today is Superman. We're doing superheroes this week. So I am going to go to the candidates tab. That's how I'm going to go find him. There's multiple ways to access the candidate grid. Here he is, Superman. We have the job requisition, JR429. Okay, this is the candidate I want to look at. Here's my candidate grid. Let's see if I can make this. Well, I don't want to make it too much smaller. I will scroll. It's probably a good size. Okay, so this is our candidate grid. I'm viewing Superman right now. Again, I can see the job rec. I can see some important information, his phone number, his email, how many jobs he's applied to. This might be super helpful for students. How many jobs have they applied to? They might be applying to a lot. I can see on the job application details. I can see like the location, the date they applied. I can see the hiring manager and the recruiter, or the primary recruiter would be listed here. I can see what step is in progress. So this step is in department review and it's awaiting me to screen the candidate. I can see active job applications. If I scroll down, this is where I'm seeing work history, education, anything they entered. So if you have already navigated to your external candidate you applied to, you probably won't be seeing a lot because we didn't have you enter a ton of information. I'm getting some information from the resume that Superman attached, where he's worked. He was an EFY counselor. He worked for BYU. Awesome.
Where could you go to pull up the actual resume?
Yes, so you can pull up the actual resume by going to, let's see here. Let me make sure I find it in the right spot.
Can we jump in the candidate grid?
But when we did ours, we didn't attach.
You didn't attach it, yes.
I attached one.
You attached one, great. It should be in attachments, that's why I was,
You must not have attached your
I
resume.
know, but I'm like, how do you get all that experience? We attached it from the resume. Well, it should be in attachments. If you attach something, you will see in the resume / cover letter, other documents, you'll see their attachments.
Have it?
You have it?
Yeah.
Awesome. I don't know why I'm not seeing it. That's why I was like, where's mine?
Spider-Man's resume, but it's there.
Yeah, it might be someone else's
It's
resume.
also at the bottom of the summary.
Resume?
Yes,
Oh,
it's also at the bottom of the
Or
summary.
Spider-Man's Superman login.
Who knows?
We're crossing universes too.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then you call this the candidate grid as well? Or no, what do you call this?
Just like for the tasks of what I would like.
I thought you were referring to it last week as the candidate grid. That's where like,
No, I
okay,
like
that's
the
what they're gonna
Spider-Man
call
story
it.
Oh, nice.
Because you've got
That's
everyone there.
that would be the candidate grid.
Yeah. Maybe we made that up, who knows?
We'll have to give it a name. Candidate's information. Okay, I'll change that. Okay. Yes, you'll also see it at the bottom of the summary page as well attached. But this is all of the candidates' information. You can see their questionnaire results if you click on the left. This was their questionnaire from the application. Let's see, what else? Okay, in a moment, we're going to talk about these buttons at the bottom. That's how you move the candidate forward. I could start a parallel reference check right now, or I could move the candidate forward. I could decline the candidate. So that's how we'll take action in a minute. I
Quick
think
call
those-
out
yes.
here. There are two questionnaires, the primary, which everybody can see on campus that has access to the candidate, but the secondary is all the EEO, temporal recommend, conviction questions that not everyone should see. Recruiting COE should see it, employee relations, but that should be hidden for the most part from everyone, the
Yeah.
majority.
Good call out, thank you. Any other call outs about viewing the candidate's information here? Anyone seeing anything that they like, helpful? Okay, let's take a couple minutes. We'll do activity 2.2 and we'll try to see if other people in the room who don't have candidates, we'll see what we can see. Awesome, let us know if you have any questions.
And if you need to, so if you just like training when you do that, to have everyone go to this, because it's when you get a good overview of everybody. Yes, and they can go through here. They could, or yes, or they could click on this and move forward, or just give them whatever options is available. Oh, well, you could, either way.
You could, I'll show them.
Yeah, just this is like one way, especially for our lockdown people. Just one way that looks similar to what they see today in my job. Because the whole gamut there, and they can see, I like the resume and do everything here. But to get into the questionnaires, they have to click on it. So either way, I'll just try to match it similar to today, so it sounds. Yes, and if we do training your way, you'll come into a flow yourself. When you go exploring, you get used to it. You could figure out task and just bring it along.
Are you trying to get to this active here with the candidate grid?
Sorry, I keep eating it down.
That's quite the resume.
Yeah, and then they've got these things, these tabs.
Their
too.
resume.
And they've got like because I hear people in the for this group, they see DNDA. Yes.
Here's the-
Is that right now?
Clean, clear. So, yeah. Time is this.
Right.
No.
Oh, no. I haven't. Just so you know, for example, this is the checking resume.
Right.
You know, when we did that.
So is he?
It's just like a checkbox.
Then it was trying to find a duplicate name and check the social.
Yes.
You're like, oh.
And we had a very limited list.
You have to use office characters, right? And Jim.
Well, he's part of the internet generation.
Oh, there.
Okay, awesome. I wanted to just call out one thing. So there's many ways to do things in Workday, which can be great, but can also sometimes be, a little confusing when you're first training or when you're first learning it. But once you find your way, the best way for you like this view, this is how you do it, this is your flow, it's gonna flow naturally. But I wanted to make one call out. Mish was showing me the way she likes to do it and the way she's been training on it. Let me pull up Workday again. So another view. So if you go to candidates, I think I'm already on candidates. Yes, perfect. I clicked on it again though, so we'll give it 1 second. Okay, so if you go to candidates, you are able to see, this is the view you like, right?
Go into the job rec and then candidates.
That's what you like to view. Okay.
Yes.
So she likes to go into the job rec and then view candidates here. Let's see. Let's find one with more people. Do you have a?
Yep. Go to job rec 177.
177. There we go. There's
Or
gonna be.
177.
Oh, that's 117.
Oh, to search for it, not
Yeah, I
in your
need to
screen.
search for it. Let's see.
Just look it up even. Yep.
I'm gonna search for it. She knows a job rec with lots of candidates. Some of ours just have the one. Okay, I didn't put the colon in. Sometimes I'm lazy. I have to click more categories to find the job rec. All right, awesome, thank you. So she's on the candidates tab here. Awesome.
Go back to overview real
Yes.
quick. So for our recruiting COE, we can see you've got 28 in application received. That's easy. You could just jump in there, screen them, move them through. It's kind of a easy to go to. You know where they're at. But yeah.
Perfect. No, great call out. And then candidates. Yeah, and you can just, you're welcome to talk us through.
This is what we're training campus to do, and the recruiting COE when you guys take over, it looks similar to Y Jobs today. So just keeping it simple for them. They've got all their candidates there. They won't see application received, but you could, you'll see the church member status. They'll get a column, but it'll be blank. Then if you go to the top experience by overview, you could jump in there, get an idea of their experience. Athletics, if there's a ton of applicants, they would want to probably do something along those lines.
This
You've
is
got the contact.
This is a good one, sorry.
Yeah.
Their current job title, this is fake. Potato harvester, bull
Yeah,
rider.
sword fighter. Love it.
Sword fighter.
Contact information's there, but eligibility will be your friend in the recruiting COE. When the DMBA, can you go to that next one?
Yes.
DMBA integration is finalized, like candidate 13, the information will pull in there, and that'll be a quick screen for you to check for halftime and things like that. Yeah, so those tabs are really good. But then, and even if you scroll up to above to compare, the compare candidates is another feature.
Let's see.
Just next to candidates.
There it is. Thank you.
Again, like with athletics, if there's and maybe, yep, you can compare. Can you go out and make it
Bigger.
show more? Yeah.
This way or no?
Yeah, I don't know why yours is little, but yeah, it'll compare everyone at the same time, especially for our departments. If they just want to filter through everyone quickly, it's a good feature. So there's a lot in here. And then if we could just go back to details, and sorry if I'm
No, please.
repeating a lot of the same, but this is key for us. We're used to knowing exactly what type of employee class it is, but now with our reduced number, this is where you would go to see that they are grounds care, bunch of job profiles there. Their scheduled weekly hours is 17.5, so what employee type are they? Half-time.
Mhm.
This is where we go to check our questionnaires have defaulted in nicely. If there is a number, I think up there is like ground work laborer 1. And what does that tell us? Well, we know it's half-time, so they are now non-exempt. If it was a Roman numeral, they would be exempt. So this is just a good feature to just double check what we're doing.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So hopefully you're starting to feel a little bit more comfortable with all the tools and resources you have, all the information you need to recruit and hire candidates. Okay, so let's jump into our next step. So let's go back a couple slides where we're at. So the hiring office has reviewed the candidate. The department has done their review. Now, we're going to talk about starting a parallel reference check. So, on the candidate grid or the candidate profile, you could start a parallel reference check. So, this would be the primary recruiter. The recruiter, so I'm going to say primary recruiter, that's who is assigned on the job requisition. The recruiter is a security group. More of like a central recruiter. They do it for everyone. The recruiter could also do this, but the primary recruiter could start a parallel reference check, and this will send a task to the candidate to add a reference. So the candidate will get an inbox item on their candidate homepage to add references. For staff, they're required to add 2, for faculty 3. And they'll add their references there. You can see we have a screenshot, my tasks. Thank you for applying. Please review the checklist below. And it says add references, and they can just start it from there. Awesome. From there, the references they add will get an automatic, and I'm not sure if this is how it happens today, but they'll automatically get, an email to review. To review the candidate who has applied, put in their reference, all that information. That's going to happen automatically outside of Workday.
So candidate will get just like what's their name, their contact information, and what is, did I say email, and what is your relationship, employment, professional, academic. And they would click that, and then those people would get an automated, very short questionnaire that they would fill out. How long have you known them? What are their strengths? Any concerns? Super short. And then the optional step, even though it's shown required, it will be optional to upload a reference letter.
Oh, so that's optional now?
Optional
Oh,
now.
awesome.
Yes, because we knew it'll be a stop. People won't do it. So yes, optional.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for that. The primary recruiter's role is if their references don't fill that out, their job is to reach out to them. Hey, we'd like to hear back from you. They can call them on the phone. That's their job when they haven't received that information back. All right.
So can I just clarify?
Yes.
The primary recruiter versus
Recruiter.
is,
Yeah, I know. So primary recruiter's assigned on the job rec. It's ad hoc. So we assigned yourself last week. This could be the ops specialist,
can
the
be,
business partner.
It's not necessarily the hiring manager.
It's not the hiring manager. The hiring manager is also attached to the job requisition as well, though. But it can be the hiring manager if
Yes,
they'd like it to be.
yes.
They can just assign it.
But recruiter is the hiring manager.
No,
No, it
recruiter
doesn't
is
go the
your,
other way.
is
And
your
for
office.
unified areas, the hiring manager will typically be the primary recruiter for like unified.
It depends. Depends how involved or how interested. It's kind of like your supervisor or HR contact today. Who is the one managing it? Who's your go-to for HR questions? Who knows what they're doing and will be moving it along? So it could be anybody really,
Whoever
And you can have multiple people in that primary recruiter role. It's ad hoc. So they don't need any other security. It could literally be anybody. But ultimately, the primary recruiter is the one who owns the rec, will move it forward and make sure things go through in a timely manner.
And that's why they're in charge of reaching out to the references and things
Yes.
like that.
Yep.
So just so I am aware, the recruiter, that's like the recruiting COE. Who in the room is that? Do you know if that's you? Raise your hand. So I'm aware if it's one person. Anyone else?
So recruiter, we've been using, recruiter is like kind of like the front desk role. Recruiting coordinator is the full gamut of recruiting
Is anyone
everything.
recruiting coordinator in this room?
Yes, or you guys are recruiting coordinator.
Just
Yep.
okay.
And Catherine is their manager.
Catherine, okay,
It's
great.
Catherine's team.
That helps me understand. These are the
coordinator and recruiter or something.
You're in together, yes. But
they're
like,
different security roles though.
yes, your
different
recruiter
roles.
won't be able to do like ECBCs.
Yes. These are the security roles in Workday. That's how we're referring to them. But yeah.
So let's zoom back to a Workday concept. In Workday, what makes someone a manager?
Employees.
You have to be assigned as the manager of direct reports. Someone reports directly to you. If your business title is manager, your business title could be super manager, superhero manager. That has nothing to do with whether Workday sees you as a manager or not. You have to have someone in the org chart that reports to you directly, that line to you,
Yep.
right? So
I think
hiring manager, they asked us yesterday, what constitutes a hiring manager? It's that you are a manager, meaning a position reports to you, and you have an open job requisition. Okay, you're a hiring manager. So it's not a role that gets assigned, it's automatically assigned because Workday knows what a manager is, and they know when you're hiring because you have an open job requisition. So that's how it's connected. Okay.
Yeah, and I think a good call out is if you want to create an open position under someone, you could just go create it under someone who's not a manager. You would have to go create them as a manager, and then you could create that open position that sits under them. So
They
I
need to
think,
be assigned to a supervisory organization
yes,
that reports to them,
yes.
right?
So,
So that relationship needs to be created before they know that Workday can pull the field, manager is this person, okay? Which is why Byron, when I set you up, I put it in an org you support, because that was easier than me creating a supervisory organization and putting a position in.
yeah, so that's why some of your positions aren't sitting directly beneath you.
Right.
You don't directly support employees. Yes, okay, thank you. So, if you have any more questions about like who we're referring to, yeah, please ask, and we have Misha in the room to clarify who those people are when we're referring to them by the security roles in Workday and their roles. Okay, so after they have reached out for references, the primary recruiter, the person who's assigned on the job requisition, will get an inbox item to manage references. So they'll be able to see those references and send them, submit the references, and different things like that. We're going to take a look at it in the tenant in a second. So I'm going to demo starting a parallel reference check. If you would like to, we don't have an activity for this. We just have like the main activities. You can follow along. You would log into your candidate home, and we're going to enter references as the external candidate. But you do not need to follow along as well. You can just watch me. So let me pull up Workday. Let's go find Superman again. Okay, I'm going to go to candidates to find Superman.
You should be good.
All right, let me scroll this over. So I'm going to click on Superman's profile to start a parallel reference check. So right down here at the bottom, we're going to talk about this in a second. I can move this candidate forward to interview or assessment as the primary recruiter, but I can also start a parallel reference check. And that's what I want to do. I want to kick that off, give those references some time to enter that information. It's telling me, oh, up next, let's screen the candidate. We're going to do that in a second. Moving forward to interview. So I have sent a task to Superman. Let me move this really fast. Okay. Is that in the way? Okay, perfect. Okay, so I've sent a task to Superman to add references. So this is the candidate home. This is what the external candidate is going to see. he has a task now. He needs to add references. Let's take a look at this before we add those references, though. I'm logged in as Superman. He can see his applications. From here, from the actions, he can view his application and withdraw if he would like. So this is what the candidate's going to be able to view. He sees this task, it comes to him. So he's going to start it so he can add references. It can see the date it was assigned as well. Okay, it says please provide a minimum of 2 references. I'm quickly going to add some references here. I'm going to add some fake references. So I need to add a first and a last name. I need to add an email. Oopsies. Add that. Awesome. This is going to be spelled wrong, but that's okay. I need to select a phone device type. That is a required field. I'm going to enter a fake number. Awesome. They can add a job title, a company name. I'm going to click OK. Awesome. And then I'm going to add one more. Select my phone device type. I feel like that's always one we're missing. It gives me an error. It's always phone device type. Which is funny because you're like, it's usually mobile these days. It is required by Workday. Click OK. All right, I can view, edit and delete them if I need to as the candidate. Click OK. Submit my references. Awesome. It says my task is completed and I can return to home. Awesome. Alrighty. All right, so then the primary recruiter would receive that inbox item to manage references. But that is how you would start a parallel reference check, and the candidate would add references. Yes?
Question, what if they submitted references already, like on their resume or something? You know, sometimes people say like, here's some references for you to contact.
Yeah.
Do you still have to submit a parallel reference thing, or could you just call those people?
That's a great question. So, from my understanding, this step can be skipped. Mish, policy-wise, do you still want them starting a parallel reference check and getting them? Because you would need them to fill it out outside of Workday, so it might be important to have them still do it.
Yes, and the recruiting CRE will go through that, but if they, we still require it, is my understanding. So they'd want to see that step in the activity stream. And even if they could even trigger that step, fill in the information with the details that are on there, if they've got them on the resume, if that's what you're saying, and even call them themselves and fill in the blanks. So the primary recruiter can do all of that, because that's what they'll be doing if the person's reference doesn't do it quickly.
So they can just initiate it themselves?
Yes.
Okay.
Good question. Good
Yeah,
scenario.
that's a good question. Okay. All right. Let's move on to talking about interview. That's the next step. So this is where we are. Yes.
What happens when the reference is completed? Would they get a notification? Does the primary recruiter know, okay, now you can go look at this and review it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's gonna come in their task, their mail?
Yeah.
Primary recruiter will own it, they'll know when it's done, and then so that will be one step, and then based on her reviewing them, she will make a step whether they want to move forward or not.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that goes to the primary recruiter's inbox. Mine, my primary recruiter, we have a couple Harper HRs. So I think it went to the other ones, but we're going to find it in a minute and we are going to manage those references so you'll see it. It didn't come to the one I'm in. I think it's because I was switching the primary recruiter up before this. We have them based off colors, so we'll see that in a second. But yeah, good question. They'll be able to manage those references once they're added. Okay, so where are we in the recruiting flow? The candidate has applied, they've been screened, they're ready for interview. We kicked off the parallel reference check. We could also kick it off in the interview stage, but we've already kicked it off, so you can kick it off in different stages or initiate it. So let's talk about interviewing. So you could move the candidate forward to an interview as the primary recruiter or the manager. So they will move the candidate forward, they'll select interview. Multiple interviews can be scheduled. So we'll see this in a second, but if you want this candidate to be interviewed by 5 people, you can add all of them there, schedule the different interviews. You can schedule interviews after you've already submitted this. You have a couple options. And like we mentioned before, a parallel reference check can be initiated at the same time. So you have the option to meet your needs in your department or in your area to schedule the interviews that need to take place. So this is kind of what it looks like in Workday. And again, we're going to hop in to Workday in a minute, but the primary recruiter or manager will schedule the necessary interviews with one or multiple interviews. They're going to select who the interviewers are, how long the interview will be. They'll select the interview type. Is it on the phone? Is it in person? Here as well, you'll select if it is a rated interview or just a normal one, and we're going to dive into that. That's a new concept. We can do rated interviews now. You can select a questionnaire and add any notes. Awesome. All right, so let's schedule an interview for our candidate. So I'm going to demo this, and then we'll all do this as an activity. You are welcome to follow along with me. Okay, so I've already pulled up my candidate, but you can see right here I have this move forward button. So I want to move my candidate forward. It's asking me to move them forward, which stage I want to move them forward to. I want to move them forward to interview. There's a couple multiple views on how you're going to see this. Again, you can do this from different places. So if it doesn't look exactly the same, the goal is to move them forward to interview though. I'm going to click OK. And now I have moved the candidate forward. So now let's see if this is going to the correct, yes. Okay, so no need to worry about this. I'm going to switch really fast. This is just because of the primary recruiter. I want to make sure I'm the correct person, but it's in the primary recruiter's inbox. They would be the one that would move them forward to interview and then right away get this inbox item to interview. Superman, this is what comes to their inbox. Awesome. You can see I have my reference check here as well for Superman I can complete. That's what we were talking about. So let's open this up. I'm clicking on my tasks up here. This is how you're going to open all your tasks. I was also seeing them from this view. It's awaiting my action. It's coming in that it was 49 seconds ago, so it's going to be at the top of my list. I can click on it from there. Awesome. This is how I'm going to schedule my interview for Superman. So I'm going to select the date of the interview. I'm going to do the interview today. So I'm going to select today's date. And this is where I can add multiple interviewers. So the interviewer is auto-populating as the hiring manager, Max Manager. Ignore the chair. We're not talking about faculty. But this is Max Manager, the manager of the hiring manager on the job rec. I can click this plus button to add more interviewers here. I can add as many as I need. Right here, this is how I remove it. So if I've added an extra, I can click this remove row button and remove a row. So for today, we're going to select ourselves as the interviewer. So I'm going to select myself. Yes.
Sorry, so for this, you would just put them all together with Max Manager. Because then it will be on one row.
Okay.
And it will be one calendared appointment.
If they're all in the same room,
all in the
sitting
same
together at the interview.
Right.
Yes.
If it's
Yes.
one interview, yes. If you were doing like just separate interviews though, like the schedules weren't the same. So someone was going to interview today and then another person was going to interview in a few days, right?
Yes.
It would be on separate lines.
Yes.
Yes.
This group though, they would do it all together.
All together.
Yeah.
That's the use case. Okay, great. So yeah, so if I wanted Max Manager to be in the room, I wanted to be in the room as Harper HR, I would add Harper. I'm gonna add both for today's demo to make sure it goes to me. All right, and so this is where I'd add my interviewers. If I was having, again, separate interviews, I could add a line item and add it here. For today, you're just gonna add yourself. I would add the duration of the interview. It's gonna be a 30-minute interview. I would select the interview type. This is where I talked about rated versus basic, or just the normal interview that happens today. If I select rated, what's going to happen, and we're going to talk about this in a minute, is it's going to kick off some questionnaires for the people who were in the interview. Questions like, does this candidate fit the mission and vision of BYU? Would you refer this candidate? We'll take a look at that. So that's a new feature. If you wanted to do a rated interview, you could do that. If you don't want to do that, you would select a basic interview. If it was in person, if it was phone, a video conference. So I want to do a rated interview in person. If you're following along with me, you can select basic if you don't want to get those next steps. Make sure you're selecting yourself so it comes to you in your inbox if you select rated. This is where you could select a questionnaire. So I want the staff rated interview feedback questionnaire and enter any notes. Any questions about scheduling an interview?
How, then does it get sent to them by email or what?
Yeah, so we have a few more steps. Yes, so I'm gonna click next. This is just the initial one. Yes, so great question. This is where this is awesome. This will be integrated with Outlook. So it's not set up yet. It's not integrated, but this will be integrated with Outlook so you can see the interviewer's schedule. And this is where you would schedule it, and then they would be sent. The interviewers would be sent an Outlook an Outlook calendar invite, and then the candidate would also receive the information as well in their candidate home. Okay, so no information is coming over because it's not integrated with Outlook yet, but I want it to be at noon. So I click on the calendar, I select the time, I see the interviewers, the start time, the duration, I click OK. It appears for both of them because I have two Harper HRs, ignore that. Awesome, okay, this is the tricky part. I feel like sometimes when I'm speeding through this, I still click this button. I always want to click blue schedule. We're going to click next. If I click schedule, it's going to take me back to that first page that we were on when I could schedule who's coming, who the interviewers are. So we're clicking next. I'm clicking next to move forward. Awesome. All right, this is kind of my overview. I'm scheduling my interview for Superman. I can see who's there, start time, end time.
You can put a room in.
Put a room in. Awesome. I can upload documents or attachments. Okay.
Like a Zoom link? Like you're gonna do
Yes, in the body, yes, yeah.
You would attach that here.
Yeah, totally, you can
What
attach
if
the
there's
resume if you've got people that don't jump in often. You can put it all there, add your own questionnaire that you'll all be working off.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and click submit. I just did it, look at that. I tell you. Oh, perfect, it submitted it, okay. That's so funny, it submitted it. Sometimes it puts them in a loop yesterday. I was putting them in a loop.
Yes, it was.
I just clicked submit and it worked.
Good
Yeah,
news.
Go ahead, good news.
I have a question when we're setting up the interview and like the interviewers.
Yeah.
And we're creating our team here, putting all, do we have to fill out all these fields for each? Because it's giving me like duration for me and duration for this person and interview type.
If they were separate interviews happening at separate times, yes.
Oh, gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
But for our people, Chris, throw them all on top of the one name.
Yes.
Put all the names in one appointment. And then it'll be the same meeting if they're all meeting together to interview.
So do I click this use same location? So like here I'm creating a team. So this is like the interview team, right?
Yes. So you don't, if they're gonna work together and interview together, you want to put them like where Elaine is, put yourself up there with Chris.
Oh, I just
So
entered
then
the
it's
name.
one
That's
appointment.
right, that's right. Okay, so I'll get that. These are separate interviews.
Yes,
not-
correct.
okay.
Yeah, the
Separate
lines
times.
are separate
That was
interviews.
And that's the same with primary recruiter. If we wanna do a ton of primary recruiters, you just put them as
You can
names.
enter multiple fields into the field
So the
box,
plus
like
sign is
multiple
another
names.
interview, not another.
Yes, yes,
Oh,
another Outlook appointment, yeah.
I forgot that.
So I got this far and I see it
Yes.
says schedule,
Yes, and you can do schedule.
but it didn't pull up any location.
Oh, okay.
So it just is having me do the same thing over and over.
Because we might not have locations in this tenant.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it, it's schedule, that takes you to the choosing next. It's the blue button schedule, it makes you schedule it again. It's right next. That's the blue I was talking about, that's what I was like, I'll call it out. Yesterday people kept hitting schedule.
So how, if we clicked here like she did, you wouldn't need it, but if people are going here, it'll just schedule and then you can pick out a time. And then
Then
now
click
next.
I did
Then it takes you that
Yeah.
page. Oh, I think I called it out, it's submit works, it's schedule on the last
Schedule.
one.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was a page late. I was like, I'm gonna call this out because everyone yesterday was like, I'm in this loop, I'm in this loop, and I was like, oh, I've done this before. So it's that schedule button, we'll take you back.
In production, those buttons will be orange. So we looked at higher view, it's not there yet. Higher view can't integrate with
yes.
us and develop.
Let's go ahead and do the activity
It won't be
2.3, scheduling an interview. Yes.
I'm getting an error that I must specify a duration for each interview session.
Yep. Yes.
And
Probably, yeah, this isn't even on the immediate radar, it won't be direct. Yeah, because high view can't integrate unless we have a.
Basic interview is
Refresh your
basic.
So we're gonna keep bugging me about that.
Basic interview is what you do today, right? You don't have like a rating scale or other things. You might outside of the system, right?
Yes.
The rated interview now adds it to the system so that you can make consistent over time. So we've configured at least 2 templates you could leverage that allow you and other interviewers to rate them based on simple statements, right? And some questions about BYU, the age of BYU, do you think they need those things, right? Just kind of nudging us that way, because you'll get the interview responses back and they'll all have the same exact things they answered back
And
to
that won't
you.
happen till after.
You can do the same outside of Workday with the basics. You can say, hey, here's the template, or here's the 4 questions I want you all to ask. Please send these back to me, and then you would just. They would give it back in the dialogue box, but it's
So
not.
how do I,
That's
how do I avoid the loop?
Rated with someone.
I know, I started the wrong one. Submit works, it'll just be for his schedule, it like takes you back.
Oh, and is that gonna be, will it be like that in the?
Will that schedule button still be there?
No, it still works.
It works.
It works.
So people work on the calendar, their time, and then they're seeing schedule, and then they were clicking on the calendar, because schedule makes them think like, I want to schedule this interview.
Yeah, so they've seen us click on the calendar, but ultimately people know to go to that button and they would schedule and then that little pop-up and where they could do the time and location. So it works. Yeah, you just have to tell people, if you click on the calendar, just go next. Otherwise, click on the button to
Well,
start.
when it's integrated with Outlook, since I've heard it's not integrated yet, will they click on the calendar with Outlook though? Is that how? Or what's the best way?
No, it'll pull in like scheduling assistant to see when
like a
everyone's
schedule-
available.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and they can either still click on the calendar, like scheduling assistant will pre-schedule and select the time. So, yeah. So scheduling is selecting the time, so you click schedule again.
So schedule
So we do
opens
this
up,
alert
like
that
schedule
says I
opens
should
up
put my
like this,
email.
scheduling like assistance.
For readiness. Where do
No,
I put that in?
scheduling assistant will show up
It says-
by putting them in and integrating, it will actually show up on the bigger screen that you have. But there are just different ways.
So
You can
Martin
just do it
Clark
yourself
must not have
in
an
the calendar,
email.
or you can schedule it.
In my profile.
I'm a calendar person.
Oh, you
now.
are that, I'm sorry. So your email's fine then. So it's asking if you would. No, you would have to go to.
So the Outlook integration is.
So it's just an alert because it's trying to nudge, see if it's drafting, and you can check your time. You get that alert, like, and then
Shows up.
Yeah, it shows like my calendar would show up like today.
Okay.
your email has been right here,
Yeah.
so that
And
you
then
don't
it,
get.
then it goes to their Outlook.
That's why.
Yes, and it goes in there like.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good, that's a good
Yeah, that's where it's
call.
not
Like, these
doing
guys
that.
are cute, they felt like doing that.
They added it here. See, I have it
So
here.
that people
Oh.
use the
Yeah,
integration.
it's just fine.
Yeah.
Funny it was giving that error that, yeah, we didn't have that.
Anyway, I'm just
It
curious.
could be a configured alert, they recently added it, I didn't see this issue at all. But they could have made this alert like, hey, make sure their email address is accurate. I don't know
Yeah,
why
a
that
good
would
call
come
out with
through,
Outlook,
but
it's going.
it's an alert to
Your
alert
calendar
you can
will
still push
appear,
it.
everyone's will
So,
appear there. So if I'm busy at noon, it'll show up.
If it was
blocked,
red
just like
error,
scheduling
it'd be
assistant in
Yes.
Outlook.
So it is.
It's connected, yeah. It's not right now.
So we've just did the integration, they just need to turn it off so we don't bombard people.
Right.
But yeah, it just looks like it
Let me
was
take
today.
This will send an Outlook invite,
Yes.
like a meeting invite?
Yeah, yeah.
What is the name of your,
It's
what is
really
the
cool.
job acquisition number?
And the room number, once our locations are loaded in, all of that.
And you'll
It's great.
And then I just was.
Okay, any help with an interview questions?
Christian, good.
Well, I don't have asked for my.
Oh,
Do you not have an applicant?
Jerry, the Jeremy one?
No, we never got.
Brother, I was at two conferences
Oh,
last
I
week.
did.
One was in
Use
Provo,
one of
one
them.
in
Don't, I'm like, don't.
Green, either one.
Go to 177, that's the one I've been using.
Really want to go like that. Oh, did you? Did I see it? Is that, yeah, I see it. My, I live over in there. Oh, there you go. He is. Lives in Pocatello,
So the other thing is that I don't
They got a
have
kids, so
tasks,
they,
so.
yeah, it's probably 5 nights a week.
Yeah, people do that.
I can use that.
Five. Yeah, right?
Yeah, I
Then, like,
don't-
the rest of them-
That's because if you didn't apply, then usually it just goes sitting there in your inbox, so when you get your application.
So what do I need
It's
to
not
do?
there.
Yeah, you can move them along.
Yeah, so.
I have the gist of it.
Yeah, you might be able to see it. You're not, but where would I actually, this is right here.
I would just go, yeah.
Um,
And then you're gonna.
If you have an action to take place,
Yeah, that's.
so just go up to the job requisition.
Actually, because you're you, let's go back.
If you had one just like this, it would show you if you were assigned.
And let's just come with one of those. And if
Oh.
you're an interview there.
So what?
Well, that's.
There is one
There we
here.
go, yeah.
So I guess I can do it. You could move the keyboard.
You, this is where, yeah, John, we just try to.
I'm here seeing all the resumes, all the
Reviews.
things, right?
We're just gonna keep it there. It's really cool. Let me show you here. What do you do?
Yeah, there. But it's there. There's some here. So it's like,
What
was the other
I
one?
can do this for other.
there's three. One's here, one's at the bottom.
You
right?
have
The
more
others,
power,
if we went
Chris.
to it, it's attached.
You could do it for everyone, but you're gonna make the
All right, so if I
department
could
your own
move
stuff.
forward.
You would go to interview. Departments are in staff work across that, that we're going to the interview now, street. And now you have to schedule it. So it's in. Do you have any? This is looking at everything. Or people would just like, we want to integrate.
Well, when I become a manager.
Because this is the candidate we want to move along.
Well, if we were hiring someone,
You're getting so.
So this is how it will.
yeah,
I would try to.
and we'll go in and
Yeah,
we'll probably
you
invite
go,
them
okay.
to invite, right?
Right.
Fine.
Lovely.
But I just moved it to the part you do now.
Yes.
So this is our.
So I'm not making you be the Michelle or be the primary, be the
Life, right? I mean, in
Michelle.
real life, someone else is the question. right, potentially.
I mean, with the HUD, you might want to.
Well, and also is good.
So we're seeing
So
steps
see
in
into this
the
computer.
Yes, you're getting this
Yeah,
first
next
step,
week.
which is the eligibility. So that means that you can assign.
Right blue
It's really nice.
digital button.
Kind of, it's just a placeholder.
Tired, right? They're doing this little over.
Yeah, she.
This is a
probably
page
just
that's-
Yeah, you guys are.
Yeah, it takes a while, they have to like.
You
create your
should
time
have the
working.
same.
Let's just be
Really,
silly.
and
Okay, so just the same.
Okay, if you click on this, so you just
We're
wait
gonna have a
on.
follow-up on it, so hopefully
That's
it's
why we
ready.
can't make
This
this.
is right. This is why you don't have to do anything.
I'm slow going.
So if you
Oh, hey.
click-
It's just-
This is.
Did it fix itself?
Because you weren't here.
Did she go to?
It was
So,
scheduled
you
at
the
the
department review staff. So that's what officially means. So it's going to go on to the department. So now the hiring manager can see it.
See Michelle, Michelle.
Use the body.
Or you can
Choose
just
to
do
make
it like
course.
that.
Now, if we look at the process, this is in progress. This is
She's really good at signature
So
computer.
now it's.
eyes open, so.
We have steps completed. Let's look at the overall process. This is just the one. So the overall.
Yes.
process. So we just had this on the record. So now we.
Come here, Chris, I'm gonna have you do it, schedule it. Oh, yeah, also, lovely.
So it's a.
It's like because it's the hundred levels. No, those days actually ridiculous. Yeah, even in the tenants, we don't have groups.
I was like,
Which is like surprising.
I was like, if I do that, I was like, yeah, it'll work. Great, you're on top.
Yeah.
Like, it's for everyone.
Like they're not.
We're getting close to the.
Unless they are. Unless they are.
So.
I can proxy it.
It's limited after this, right?
Kind of.
Yeah,
It's kind of brain boring, so.
yeah.
So for Michelle, it's gonna be, she'll have a task.
It's just, you have to submit the interview.
Probably some break there, I'll be back in here. It's probably gonna be slower.
Maybe you just sit here the whole time.
Did Byron make it?
Anybody
have a question?
Spotlight job.
Yeah. They have releases every 6 months, and that's why your buttons are blue. And Carla, that candidate eligibility, that's just a placeholder.
Yeah.
It's just a reminder, hey guys, check the interviews.
Because job requisition's not, it's not like a posting, right?
I didn't know that was
That was, you're spotlighting the
Have a seat here, Chris, you can be
So I
there.
wonder
That
what.
way you can have my access and see.
So we could go in and do this. Spotlight all my. Yeah, right? It's kind of like the person who says.
I'm away from it.
Come on, I got a question.
And then there should be like a schedule button near there. So.
Okay, I can do
Yes.
Are you gonna interview here, like by clicking on that?
Okay, let's move forward. If it's comfortable for you, we're just in a tenant, a training tenant, to start with this
So
buffering.
class would be like 5-1A and then this
Second
person
one.
second day? Their second day?
Yes.
So,
Okay. So we scheduled our interview. So let's talk about interview feedback. So I select a rated interview. So the interview is going to get an inbox task and workday to give feedback after the interview is completed. The feedback they will leave will include an overall rating, a comment, an overall comment, And then it's going to ask, this is the staff one I selected though, these questions. It's going to ask if the candidate supports the mission and vision of BYU, is qualified for the position, and is a good fit for the team. So this is a great resource if you want to just get some quick answers back from the interviewers. Maybe you couldn't attend the interview, so you want to get some info back. You could do this through Workday. And then the primary recruiter, so this is the interviewers. Then the primary recruiter will manage the interview feedback and click submit to move it forward. So what that means is they're going to get this interview feedback in their inbox, and they'll be able to see, oh, great, this candidate is a good fit. And they'll be able to view those answers.
So in this step, you could submit that, and then you could disposition the candidate. You're out, right? You got the interview feedback. It actually turns out this person was not the right person. So instead of moving forward, you would decline the candidate, and you would tell the department, okay, move on with a different person. You know, if we need to pull another candidate through, right? Let's do that. Let's go through your screening. Yesterday, that was a key call out, right? Faculty were wondering, okay, what happens if they get to this point and they're not right? Do I just have to keep with the one that's left? No, that's not how it works, right? So if you've decided you had 2 candidates and this one after their interview isn't the appropriate one, you could now schedule another interview if you wanted to keep moving along the process. Or maybe that last one that you're still interviewing works out and you're just gonna see how far you can go with that, okay?
Yeah, so like Spence was talking about, an interview decision needs to be made. This is done by the primary recruiter. So the primary recruiter has a few options. Yep, they can disposition the candidate, or they could move the candidate forward to clearance, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. That's the background check, ecclesiastical, or they could schedule another interview. We're not sure. You could schedule another interview from here. You can schedule as many interviews as you'd like in Workday. Awesome. So let's go move the candidate to clearance, and also we'll do the interview feedback. If you selected that, you can follow along with me, and then we'll move them to clearance. So I have this inbox task here to manage interview feedback that's coming to me as one of the interviewers. Oh, that's manager. I need this one, I think. Let's see. Give me 1 second. Sorry, 1 second, it's loading.
Yeah, we're all getting notify me laters on our screen.
It's not normally like this, even in their stage environment. It's just having a bad day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there someone we can report or check with?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, we can let Trey know and he can reach out.
Yeah, we'll reach out.
I know, I'm like.
Yeah, we'll reach out and to.
As we're in our training environment, it's different than your production tenant. The production tenants are on different servers and they're optimized for performance, so you shouldn't see this on a daily basis as you're working with Workday. But as we're in our training environments, BYU has 11 tenants. That's quite a few. So we are on a different server dedicated to this, and sometimes it's just not optimizing the same way.
Awesome. Okay. This is the right inbox item I wanted to be on. This is for me to enter my interview feedback as an interview. So those are the questions we saw. Is the candidate a good mission and does they support, the mission and vision, excuse me. Yes. Yes to this one. They are qualified. They're going to be great on the team. I'm going to select my overall rating, 100%. Let's hire Superman. Overall comment. Hire Superman. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to submit my interview feedback. If anyone's following along, we'll submit it. We'll give it a minute.
You're running really slow. Are you guys slow?
Yeah.
Rob? The rating is required, not the comment.
Yeah, you can put a comment. This is a question we can ask while it's loading. Are you all letting them, if they selected graded, move them forward to clearance even if they don't get that feedback? Or does the feedback have to be submitted? Do you know? Is it going to stop them from moving forward?
I don't
think
believe so.
Yeah, that's what okay. So if you're waiting on an interviewer to give feedback, it's not gonna hold you up. So you're able to still move them forward. That's why I was seeing both. Any questions while we wait for this to load? Questions from the group? All making sense so far?
HireVue will not be in Workday at Go Live. We worked with them and they can't integrate until they have a live product. So that will be after Go Live.
I think we should take a break so that we can give Workday a minute.
think
And
that's
ourselves a
great.
break.
Let's
So
take a
let's
break.
take
We
10
haven't taken one
minutes.
yet.
Yeah.
If you're able to move forward with stuff, go for it. Let's take a 10-minute break. We'll come back at
This would only be.
close to 10:30.
Yes, only if you did a rated interview.
Like that one.
So I should have done here, right?
Yes.
He's got things.
It was like not fun.
Well, you did.
Eventually that stopped spinning.
Yeah, I was trying to help like get ready for you and I was like, I was like, let me go to Chrome, I'll just start over and.
I'm good.
So you are still in your old job. So they haven't moved you to your new job in this tenant. That's why you're
Oh,
accessing.
okay. I was like,
27,000.
From the manager.
Yes, working under Elaine.
I'm trying to do something small.
Yeah, it's just like.
Can you guys not do your job for a
Is it
day,
lunch
please?
yet?
Yeah, like, can you do the line? Yeah, that would go great. It's like I can open any other website just fine, it's just not really.
Okay, I'm like, it's not the Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
back on now.
I thought it was Wi-Fi for me, and it actually was for me because,
But
you know,
I still showed up.
and it was like, are you a guest or whatever, I'm like, fine, like, this is the screen of the room, and then it loaded fine. I was on my heart.
So that's the one reaching out and this is the
I mean,
training
have you been
team.
able to get in there?
The day that.
Yeah, I remember that last year.
What time did you?
Yes, yeah.
They sent that. to me.
Yeah, you will have the full range of everything.
What is that? How do we expect you to?
Okay.
Might give me an error.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is like
It's different. Yours is better.
Living the dream, you know it.
That's good. You're there for an hour and you hit it all in the
Yeah, Emma's crashed totally.
Oh, mine is submitted. I'm gonna try to clearance.
We went up 9-4. Yeah. I didn't.
How's it going? Any questions? Oh, yes.
Let's see if I can manage that interview feedback.
Yeah, I'm stuck, I can't get in it.
Yeah.
It's submitted.
So much more intuitive.
That's why I was like, we should take a.
Reporting is easy, getting analytics is right.
I was gonna say, that.
Visual actually.
To do, but I'll go and see if George. Just to see.
That's cool.
Yes, not yet. Yeah.
You guys have all been over here before.
Oh, support for you guys.
Do we need snacks?
Oh.
We can go see if there's snacks. Let's go see if there's more snacks.
There should be more. You need to load up this room.
Where's that out there, like, not terribly far, I think, from the Silver Hall. Okay, so kind of before you get out of the big. The trail center might be a little.
So No.
To what?
Huh?
Close to what?
Here, all the HR. Pretty sure that we're on the last steps.
I know,
So I wonder.
We'll have to take a break.
I
was like,
they're,
what?
they're all.
There's no way. Problem statement about things.
They're just creating like even another hour.
Yeah, because they're having to work for that, so I wonder if the one you went to last week.
It's gonna be a better way.
That
Right?
is
It's like,
because
my,
did you find out?
my God.
This has security reasons, like, we're gonna be doing this.
What?
Police.
And we still, every time, my wife is gone. We crash,
Why are we all
Right, like you should be able to get something out of it. Right. Like, is there really a chance that she could not be able to play? Someone,
No, I
just happened to get
I don't,
crashed.
I'm not like, is it her particular, I don't like this,
Well,
Yeah,
I was there, so the other day I just say, I do think I'll.
Big posture. I'm like,
Madam, who's doing the hiring now?
What do you mean?
She's doing the hiring. Annalisa's by 9.
how long would I take?
It's gonna, yeah, it'll, Karen and Lee and Jeff will be hired.
Okay.
We're taking a 15-minute break while I work days by more sleeping.
Maybe, maybe retreat.
I'm okay.
Marty has some selective and sound.
Family, I guess you can.
It's tired.
Yeah, and a long week with it.
I'm sorry. Resistance at all. Yeah. I started laughing.
Candy. Shall I get some more snacks?
I think there is been about. Yeah. Kind of just admire.
Okay, let's see. Let's see if I can do it. I don't need to manage your feedback then. I just need to do. I need to submit these to the
Might as well.
Well, do I kind of like, do I want to, I'll just submit my interview feedback. I'm okay, but thank you. I'm like, candy in the morning. Oh, that worked. It was fast. I need to go to school. Do I need to submit this? Actually, been a lot faster. I'll show them this. I won't start it. It's running.
Do we need a QA?
Wait, Spence. Really fast. Is it? Oh, is it gonna let me move in? I get Hawaii is very helpful. Okay. Let's go submit that. I'm good. I just was like, where is that? Okay. Let's do a couple things while it's working. I want to get these moving, and then we'll go through some slides. Oh, what did I say? We're starting a little early. Are we waiting for people?
Yeah, you said 10 minutes. I don't know how long it's been.
It's been like 8.
Better wait some more.
Yeah, should we wait a few more? Are we waiting for people? I'm like, it's working. Let's submit these.
I'm the participant that like sets the timer on my watch and like goes away, and then I don't act back until they're back.
I know.
I'm the worst here, right?
One, I think missing one, oh, Emma and Chris.
Okay.
One lady. And Anna Perez are here today.
These are two very simple things. Let's move it forward. Give it some time. Back, yeah, it's working.
Hey, what do you want?
Okay.
Do you want me to move you forward?
No, I'll do that. We'll see if it runs screen. Because I told them to show on calendar.
You'll move them to clearance,
Yeah, I'll manage the references and I'll do clearance.
and then I'll do the others.
Well,
That's what this.
yeah, because no matter what.
It's not gonna be like that.
Yeah, even if they're.
Oh, there's, you're on, and they're all.
So go ahead.
Okay, we also have Cheez-Its.
I don't have that much Cheez-Its.
Job right I did last week. The log and stuff.
So you got another string for us.
How do you think I would get like the job right when I
That one's over in this.
Right.
just get it there?
That's how it pulls it up immediately.
I like to say.
Any questions for me? Was anything?
So we probably have like, so.
Now it's your name certified search. This is the first
Yep, or you could just go next.
I don't know how you.
and hit more categories and see if it comes up.
Yes, and you can add someone else in there if you wanted to.
So let's go look in your archive and see where it's
Well,
at. So you have on
He's in there.
Yeah, you might want a day, do the day or
No,
something.
no, the link.
You know, where you
Change
Is it third?
here to 11. No, it's probably the website.
are in my workday stuff.
No worries, let's try here.
And if you click on the blue button, which most people will,
I mean, yeah, why would you?
then you'll get a pop-up where you can,
Okay, let's do some stuff.
interview is following you.
We haven't done that much, right? Like,
Yeah.
archives and it's still like, where you're working with like a different
And this
candidate.
room, just pick a room.
Yeah, I have like,
There's no question, and then
I helped
you just go.
earlier on stuff.
Okay, great.
So that was.
So it's just triggered when I
And
saw
then
six.
next.
Wow, you were in six.
Well, that's what we're, I mean, you can see. Well, you're Martin, right?
And then if
I'll
you're
tell
happy with
I'll just use
everything,
the website. It's basically
then-
like our website for things to a wrong environment, your C6. So, it was supposed to be all fixed, outside it worked out this week, so no worries. If you're in 6, it's still a training environment. It's just an old training environment. So you get more
That makes
records.
sense.
Now you can find your recs. So you probably created an 11 last week.
I did have a question the other day that if you have a half-timer who doesn't need references, the COE can move them through. And either dummy it up and move it along. But the step is optional.
And for internals, it won't do any references, right?
Well,
It's a good procedure. I talked about that a while back, because internals are different. and they don't have to-
yeah, go back there. I'm just trying to find like the sufficient way for you to use your same stuff.
I've seen a lot of that just in there. I think it might still be an option because they may be somewhere else that you don't know them, but they're internal. And you could still do that step. Yeah, because we're a big campus, you might not even know who they are.
And she just brought this up, so Mish mentioned, if you have a half timer and you don't need references, right? What will happen is that Workday will bring up, once you move past a certain stage, right? At screen, at all these places, it has a button, start a parallel reference check. You don't have to push it. When you get to the point that you're ready to move to clearance, it'll say, hey, can you check this box saying you don't need references? And you'll check the box and you'll hit submit. Okay? It's just really trying to encourage you to do that step because it's really important for everybody that it is important for.
And then if you're doing clearances and they haven't started them, the recruiting COE can kick off the reference check step and it will still go to the primary
So
recruiter.
then,
Right.
let's say you can scroll down and enter all the information, like the time.
Because the next step after that is offer. So the recruiting COE will want to make sure they've got everything they need
Then
before they
click
move
OK
them on.
and click next. If you click skip like that, that's it. That's the buttons. The buttons. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Let's see if we can do these. There's two things, two buttons, and then we're moving on to slides. So I want to manage the references. I mentioned that because I wasn't logged in as the primary recruiter, I wasn't seeing the manage references button. Now I am, so I just wanted to show you that. So the primary recruiter is getting this manage references. They can see them. Looks good. I'm going to go ahead and click submit. Awesome. That worked great. Now I want to move my candidate forward to clearance. So we managed our interview feedback. You don't have to, but I took a look at it all. I submitted it. Now I want to move my candidate to clearance. So I have a few different ways to do this. So I can move him forward from here. I'm going to show you another way that Mish was talking about and a good way to train people on. I'm going to go to my candidates. I don't regret this.
You're gonna go to the job requisition
Job
tab.
Yes, job rec. Sorry, my
There you
bad.
go.
Job rec. Thank you. Then I'm gonna click on the job
Then
requisition.
you're gonna find your job rec.
Thank you. I do it a different way. Okay, it was JR 429. 429. Thank you. Okay. So from here on my job rec tab, I went to candidates. I'm seeing all my candidates.
We open detailed view.
Yes. I'm going to open the detailed view. This is going to give me more view and information. Like we were seeing all of that. We could see the job posting and the candidates. I'm going to go to the candidates tab. I'm just showing you another way. And here I can select Superman. So that's where I can select multiple people if I had multiple candidates. That's where I wanted to show you this way as well. And I can click move forward from here. Move selected candidate to next step. I want to move, so I can schedule another interview like we mentioned, or I want to move them to clearance, get that background check going, ecclesiastical, all of that, and click OK.
What's the difference between next stage and next step? Because there's two entries up there. One said next stage.
One said next stage,
step.
one said next step. I would have to go look. Do you know? off the top
So
of
you
your
would
mind?
use where it was auto-filled down the bottom.
Yeah.
It already said move to clearance. That's what they would do
Yeah.
most of the time.
I'd have to go look.
There's
at
the stages are listed across, right? So you have application received, screen, assessment, interview, reference, right? The steps are background check. The step is, so there's a difference between the step and the stage as it's being called out there. We're not, you just need to worry about moving it to the next step, which
Yeah.
will also change the stage. All of it comes together.
Mhm.
So just click the drop down, it will only give you what's available, and it should be the same in both.
Yeah, it'll
Because
only
we
give
didn't
you.
configure it to say move you to a new stage. We've just configured it to move along in the business process.
Yeah, if you click that drop down and nothing's there, I've done that before. It means something else needs to happen first. Like they're not ready to move to clearance or something, and it's
And
waiting.
you can't force it out of someone else's inbox. So if the recruiter has gotten it or the hiring manager has gotten it, you can't force them to not do their step if you've sent it off in their direction. That's true of Workday anyway. You can't pull something out of someone's inbox. Once it's there, they need to take action on it or skip the step or something.
And some people will get hung up on this, but reference check, then it jumps to offer. But we don't give an offer until we've cleared somebody. So this is a delivered, process delivered,
Yeah, from
view,
Workday.
but we have configured the BPs to be the way we need it to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, awesome. So another view. So this is how you can move them forward, and yeah, it's a great way to move. You can move multiple candidates, you can select them. It's an easy view, and it looks similar to what you've seen in the past in PeopleSoft. All right, Kate. Like I said, 2 simple clicks. Let's have you do it really fast if you weren't following along. Anyone still need to move their candidate to clearance, or we're all able to move them? Okay, great. We'll skip our break. Okay, so let's talk about clearance. So this is where we're at. They've been screened, interviewed. Now we're on clearance. It also says reference check here, but again, we started that earlier. We did that earlier. It can happen throughout the process. So let's talk about clearance. So we're going to talk about this a lot. We're not going to see it entirely in Workday today. A lot of this is happening outside of Workday or in the background, but if you have any specific questions about your role, for other departments, this just happens for them. Everything happens in the background. So we have some overview slides. Some of the integrations aren't set up in our training environment yet, with TrueScreen and different things. So feel free to stop me at any point if you have questions. But these are the responsibilities of the recruiting coordinator.
Which is this group, this part of the group.
Part of the group, great. So they would start a background check, the honor code check, which is...
For non-members, it's the ecclesiastical version for non-members.
Yes. Yep. Request clearance from the candidate and then start the ecclesiastical check. Okay. I think I said request clearance, request reference from the candidate. Sorry about that.
Because again, if you still haven't done it,
then
the
you could do it
recruiting
again.
coordinator can still push the button right here Still flows the same business process.
Yes.
Still goes to the candidate, on and so on.
Yes. So a lot of these are happening already. They're happening automatically. So with background check, this is going to be done through TrueScreen. The background check will be initiated and the results will automatically be receed in the background.
So that one will kick off automatically.
Mhm.
It will pre-fill with basic expanded, go out to TrueScreen. The candidate will still get an email from TrueScreen like they do today. And then that will kick off. If it's in review, it will sit with employee relations before, and you'll see the status as review, so you can't move on it. And then they would, once they've made up their mind, they will say passed or failed. And that part is just limited to your purview as well. It's restricted. If it's all good to go, it'll show as passed.
Yep. Reference check, we talked about this a lot, so yep. Again, you can initiate it from here. And then once all of that has been done in the background, the ecclesiastical and the background check, you will be able to move them to offer. So all of the parallel steps are completed and clearances are successful. The recruiting coordinator will move the candidate to the offer stage. Okay.
The department can't move it anywhere until you're done with clearances.
They don't have the ability. It's kind of out of their hands. Yep. Awesome. Okay. Spence is working on that in the background for me, so my candidates move through all of this.
Superman, right?
Yeah, Superman.
Which one is that?
So let's talk about offer now. Okay, so they've been screened, interviewed, clearance, now we're to offer. So we kind of have a recruiting flow we wanted to share just for staff. So this is the offer flow. So the recruiting coordinator moves the candidate to offer. They're ready to be offered. It's going to go to the comp partner. They're going to be the ones who initiate the offer. They will also propose the compensation and any one-time payments if applicable. So the comp partner handles all of that. And we can talk about specifics, how it works, outside of Workday. These are the steps in Workday that we're sharing.
Are there a few in this room that are comp partners? I saw at least one.
Yeah, any comp partners?
Yeah, Byron.
Yeah, I think.
Business partner.
Comp partner too.
Not comp partner? Were you in my trainings? I thought you were in my. No? When I was on the screen? No? I did all the comp stuff.
You're listed as it in the
The
tenant.
compensation department was all there, but the comp partners are.
Oh, compensation. Okay, so, but you guys, they might have comp partner, then I'm mixing it up because they shouldn't be assigned it though. I haven't.
He specifically was, I know.
I know, that's why I'm confused. I'm like, some of you are assigned comp partner.
Some of you are.
We'll look into it. If that's not your role, let's get that fixed. Or if it might be a role. Because that's what I was like, I know we assign some people comp partners so they can walk through it in our trainings, and that's why I recognize some of you, and then I know some of you are actually going to be used, so.
And this is why we're talking about these steps, because right now, you may not have the comp partner assignment, or maybe you have it and you don't know you have it, right? So as we're continuing to roll out the service delivery model changes, we want to show it to you because maybe you're supporting somebody who's doing it. For faculty, if they ever are like in a panic moment and they just need help from someone in central HR, they might call you because they know your name and they worked with you before, right? So we wanted to show you some of these steps, even though you may not be the person committing.
Awesome.
If the people who are consultants right now that do this function are not going to be the ones doing it in Workday, it's coming from compensation?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So it'll be somebody in the comp.
Yes.
That's doing this. Okay.
Yep. And that we're going to walk through initiating and proposing the offer. So hiring manager is going to review the offer. They're going to get an inbox item to review it. Once it looks good with them, that's when all that back and forth is going to happen, and we're going to talk about that outside of Workday. It's been agreed, the amount has been agreed for their salary or their hourly pay. Then it's going to go to the comp partner. They're going to generate the offer letter, and then they'll send it to the candidate. It's already been agreed, everything's been worked out. the candidate will receive an offer letter in their candidate homepage that we've been looking at to sign it with e-sign. And then the manager and primary recruiter will make offer decision. So they just get a notification.
So there's never a verbal offer made before this happens?
There is.
There
should
At what
be.
point would there be a verbal offer from the manager to the?
Hiring manager reviews offer.
That's when they make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They review it with the candidate. Does this start date work? This is what we've agreed upon. So they're the middle step, the hiring manager.
Yeah. So these are all of the steps only inside Workday. We didn't include anything that happens outside of Workday. So yeah, the hiring manager, from my understanding, that's when they would communicate, and they would communicate with a comp partner outside of Workday. Yep, they agreed to this. Nope, they wanted this. All of it's going to be solidified before they receive the offer letter for staff, because they won't be able to send back that offer letter and reject it. So it's all going to be figured out. So let's talk.
Carl will know what this means. So when the department moves into clearances, it also kicks off a step to comp with an experience factor that they can use in their analytic to go through and figure out what this person, we already have the position, we know the level, we know the range that was on the job rec. This is where they would start figuring things out while you're in the clearance mode, so that once you're ready, you've cleared them, we're ready to do an offer.
Okay.
Who decides what the experience factor is?
The comp partner.
It routes to them.
We did that in the background, but yeah, they get an inbox item. Hey, this is the candidate, and they just enter the experience factor value in. Awesome. We'll take a look more depth at all these steps. That was our overview.
And all of that can be seen by the business partner?
The experience factor value?
Well, no, just the process, where it is in the process.
Yes.
Who it's awaiting on.
Who's awaiting,
Yeah.
yes. Okay. Awesome. So comp partner is going to initiate the offer. So it's going to come to them in an inbox task. So they're just going to get some of that initial information. So they're going to enter key details. They need the hire date. They'll enter the location, all of that information that they need to initiate the offer. So we'll walk through this. And then they're going to propose the compensation. So they will propose the compensation for the candidate. They're going to add a total base pay within the range. They can add an allowance plan here, change the merit plan, things like that, all the things that were agreed upon outside of Workday. Then that manager is going to review the offer. So the manager is going to review the offer and can edit items like the hire date, location, and job profile if they need to. And that's when the manager can reach out to the candidate and say, hey, this is what we're able to offer you. This is your hire date, all of that information. Make sure it's correct when they're reviewing it before they send it back to the comp partner. Then the comp partner is going to generate the offer letter. It's all been agreed on. The candidate knows. They're ready to accept the job. Everything's set. So they're going to generate the offer letter. The offer letter is going to pull in information from the offer, like the hire date and the compensation amount. We'll take a look at it. It's a letter. It pulls in all the information. We are offering you $15 an hour or whatever it is. The candidate will receive an inbox task. They'll review and e-sign the offer letter from there. Awesome. I wanted to skip. Okay, before we do the offer, I'm just going to skip to this slide and walk through it. Like we mentioned before, faculty, they have a little bit of flexibility. They can reject the offer and renegotiate. With staff, since you've already talked, you've reached out to them, you've explained the hire date, the amount. If they reject the offer letter and their Workday homepage, they're rejecting the job, maybe they've moved on with a different job, they actually don't want it, you would move forward with another candidate from there. You can't send the offer back and kind of renegotiate in that stage. It's already happened outside of Workday in the way BYU has done it in the past. Okay, so I'm just going to demo offer, what the comp partner does, so you all can see it.
Can you
Are we
go
all
to
set?
the business process history before you move along
Yes, let's take a look at
for the
it.
job application? I just want to highlight, so when I said, hey, some of you in this room are a comp partner, you said, I don't know if I am. I said, oh, your name is on the list.
Yeah, I'm going to navigate there. I did it really fast. So I'm on the home page. I go to my tasks or my inbox. You'll hear us saying that interchangeably. I'm already there. Usually it'll pull you up to your most recent one. This is all items I need to act on. this in my archive is all items I have acted on, or the process history. We talked about this a little bit last week. I can see details about it, but I always just go straight to process. I hopped over there really fast. This is showing where it's at, the interviews, the to-dos. So yeah.
And this is for the sub-process of interview. Remember, we have screen, interview, offer, clearances.
Let's
So
go to
if we
job
scroll out,
application.
we can go up to the, on the same process, we can look at and click the overall job application. So you can see
Here it is.
it says for training staff and the overall process, we're only looking at the event of this one. So
Mhm.
that's a quick way to get there.
I hopped down to it right here, but yeah, you can also click on it right here.
And now you can see what step it's
I
at
click
or
on
where it's going.
process.
If you have a step in your inbox, that also appears there. That is,
So
we scroll to
background.
page 2.
Yeah, we see our background check was submitted in the background. All of background check.
Now we're seeing, there's your name, Byron. She said, I'm not a comp partner. And I'm like, you sure are. It says you're one of the people I'm going to chase down if I'm waiting on this, okay?
Oh my
So
gosh.
just
This is in
know it says
alphabetical
the
order.
names of people who you are waiting on. Now, you don't know which one of those is taking this on and how they're divvying up their work. But those are the 5 people that got assigned this task. You're
Well, the
Is
first
this in the
5.
training tenant, or is this like gonna carry over to actual like?
This is current security, so unless it's
Because
been
Carl and
changed.
This
in
is
the
all
last
of them.
Month or so.
Well, this-
So with,
Byron, I've been meaning to talk to you.
so Lisa Matthews had a question for me yesterday. They're kind of on the collaborative side and tad worried about faculty going out there with their wage, and they were worried. So I think it's more for visibility that's probably on you, because once the hiring manager has done the offer, they can adjust it. If they're one of those trained, competent hiring managers, they've been given a range, they were told 30 an hour, but they could go to 40, and he put in 35, so, which is fine, but they'll worry that they'll have to check every single thing or approve it, which we're not doing. But once the manager has submitted it and we're good with the new hire, the candidate that's getting the offer, as a comp partner, and this is what I saw with Lisa, she can go in and see what has been submitted, and then she could work with comp if they went rogue. So it's just, I think, more for visibility than anything. Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, I like the visibility. I'll
Yes.
keep it.
Yes.
Keep it. Awesome. This is showing you the first 5 down here in alphabetical order. And then if I expand it, I can see all 13 who are assigned, and it went to their inbox. So it went to everyone's inbox here. Okay. All right. So let's go hop in. That's Byron, if you don't mind. Doesn't matter who you are, it all looks the same. Gotta let me. So I'm gonna go hop in as a comp partner so I can initiate the offer. Okay, so they get an inbox item, offer for job application, Superman. And this is what we were seeing earlier. So, yep, this experience factor value is pulling up that was entered, and some other information that they need. So they're going to enter the hire date. I want to hire Superman today, so it'll be today's date. They can enter a hire reason. Is it to fill a vacancy, a rehire? This was because it was a new position, but that's just.
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Go ahead.
The location's key. On the job rec, I've been here nearly 10 years, and I know where the ASB is, Crabtree now, and where the bookstore is, and the Wilk, but I don't know campus that great at all. So for the job recs, we're just doing BYU campus. But this is where you can then specify more correctly where they will be.
So is it only going to allow them to select BYU campus? Because we can select a location at job rec. We all selected Crabtree last week.
Yeah.
Is it training wise we're going to train, they select BYU campus?
Yeah,
They don't select specific.
no.
So if they do, like we had you all go in and select a specific location, this is where they could track and be like,
Yeah, and I think it's
wrong
general
location.
campus.
It's BYU General Conference, but it does give them the option to go in and make a better selection. So in our training materials, we'll update that for hiring managers.
And our recruiting coordinators can check it before they post it.
Yep. Okay, so there'll be multiple checks, but yeah, in case it's wrong. All right.
But in the offer, we can be more specific.
Yes.
Yep, save that. My job profile's coming in. This is where my working time, it's full-time, 40 hours a week. My FTE is popping in.
Personalize the business title.
Yep, let's personalize the business title. So, training assistant 1, we can call it, I don't know.
Workday trainer.
Superhero. Trainer. There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Personalize the business title, that's what's going to pop up. Yeah, so we're not all seeing the job profiles as the business title because, yeah, if we had a bunch of student worker 1s, we left it the same, they would all be student worker 1s. We couldn't classify, oh, this student does dining, this student's, you know, maybe something else.
And if they've got multiple jobs, they'd want to know which one they need to clock in for. So we need to mix that up.
Yeah.
And business title would be what they clocked.
Yeah, awesome. I'm going to click next. This is where I'm proposing the compensation. So this is where it gets tricky. If you were in my sessions, you're like, I can't edit the total base pay here. They're going to scroll down. They're going to go down. If it was salary, it would pop up here with the assignment details. So it's an hourly plan. Click edit. This is where it's going to change the comp. This is where they're seeing the range. This is the range from the job profile. It's pulling over $15 to $23. It's already, at this point, the comp partner should have a general idea of what's going to happen before it goes to the manager. So they'll know what to do here.
And ultimately, it should just be min to mid.
That's what they'll be selecting in, or what it should be showing.
For a new.
Because it's showing mid, max.
Yes. I'm pretty sure they fixed that, but
It
it
might-
should just min to.
It might be just
Mid.
because we're in a training. All right, so I'm going to add $16 an hour. Excuse me. Currency, frequency, it's all pulling over correctly. This is where I can add an allowance plan, adjust merit. Anyways, just showing you this all. Now it's popping up in total base pay 16 here. from
And
where I
again,
entered
we're
it.
delivered, so there will be fields there that staff may never ever use, but the bulk will default in, but we just move through it.
For example, a one-time payment plan, from my understanding, most likely you won't be using that for staff, but for faculty, maybe if they're getting a moving stipend, we've been showing that here, they could go add it into a one-time payment plan.
Does an error pop up if they put something outside of the range?
So a alert pops up. So it does let you push past it. If I entered something outside of the range, oops, sorry, those are my guidelines. Where am I at? If I entered something below or above it, an alert, and I'm just covering this next week if I try to hit next. Ooh, maybe before I submit. An alert should pop up saying, you entered something out of the range, but it's the orange one. It's not the red one. It's not going to hard stop you. Okay. Yeah, I think I might need to hit submit. Awesome. I'm not entering a one-time payment plan. This is where I'm going to review all of this information. Double check that start date, that hire date. See the comp that's coming over. And then I'm going to hit submit. There it is. Thanks. So when alert total base pay is below pay range minimum, I'm going to edit it so we don't run into problems later.
And this is key for student. A lot of these will just push through, but they'll get the alert, the soft alert, but then it could route to student employment.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
So it routes differently if it's below or higher than.
There's still a threshold, right?
It's still a threshold.
Yeah. Of the amount that's been exceeded, how much is that?
Okay.
Right.
All right, go ahead and click submit.
Yeah, yesterday I think I tripled it. So it's going somewhere else.
Yeah.
For someone to say yes.
All right, I can go take a look at the process here. All right, so it's awaiting action from Max Manager to review the offer. So I'm going to go hop over to Max. He's going to get the opportunity to review the offer, make that phone call to the candidate. I'm going to open it right up from the home page. Awesome. So he can edit a couple of things. He can edit the hire date. He can go in here. If he edits it, it'll get approved again. But he's looking through this. It's all looking good. $16 an hour. He's reached out to the candidate by now, and they've agreed to that. So before he submits, he's done everything he needs to outside of Workday. So he goes ahead and submits this. Awesome. And now it is moving on. Still wants a reference check because I didn't do it. That's okay. It's moving on. Let's see if it pops up into the candidate home. We'll give it a second.
Often takes a little while.
Takes a minute. Okay, let me pull back up. Takes a minute. Oh, I'm sorry. I missed a step. It's not gonna pop up here. I gotta generate the offer letter.
Right.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna go back as the comp partner.
Recruiting is super transparent. The waiting on identifies who it's waiting on.
There it is. Okay, awesome. Sorry about that. So since the manager approved it, they know that they can generate the offer letter now. I think I clicked on this is what the experience factor is. I clicked on the wrong one. Awesome. Okay, so they are ready to generate the offer letter. They'll click this review button. And this is the offer letter. Okay, it's not too small. And you might be able to, it's kind of small on your screen, so sorry about that. Let's see if I can make it bigger. There we go. Okay, so it's saying, Dear Superman, we're pleased to offer you this position to be a superhero trainer in Training Staff Yellow, that's the org, with an anticipated start date of today. You're going to be paid $16 an hour. It's equivalent to the annual amount here. This is editable. They can go in and edit these items if they need to, and it'll be from.
And it will have the hiring manager, not BYU staff employment.
And then it'll have the hiring manager's name. I didn't know where you're going. And it'll say from the hiring manager. Okay. Any questions before I submit it? Anyone want to see anything? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and submit this. All right, now we'll give it a minute. Now it's going to the candidate's inbox. I skipped it.
And that's the other way that I knew that you were a comp partner, because you had the experience factor in your inbox waiting for your approval. I was like,
So-
oh, that's a compensation element.
I think like this is just a good call out. Your security roles route inbox items to you. So at Go Live, when you're seeing inbox items and you're like, why is this in my inbox? And I think for this group particularly, that's when you're going to look into, is this something I need to do?
Or
And
it was just for visibility purposes,
is this for visibility?
like Mish was saying.
Yeah.
And that's when you can set up those filters on your inbox. You can set up notifications, sort through it. So you don't have a bunch of inbox items.
So Andy Morgan is also a comp partner, right?
Yes.
So if Andy were to complete this step, then what would happen to it in your inbox?
Does anyone know?
It goes disappears, right?
Disappears.
Two people can't do the simultaneous things, so it would pull it right out of your.
Yep, once someone posts the job, then it's gone from everyone's inbox who can post the jobs. So, yeah. There's just some coordination that will have to happen on how you're going to sort and filter your inbox, who's going to take on what assignments. Okay, I'm logged in Superman's homepage, his candidate homepage, and he's got this offer letter. He knows it's coming. The hiring manager said, look out for an offer letter. It's coming for you if everything's good to go. He'll review this offer letter. This is where he can open it up, the PDF, and he can e-sign it by Adobe eSign. Awesome. He'll read through it. Everything looks great. Sign it. And go ahead and click apply. He's going to click to sign. And then he's all done. He's all done signing, and then he'll click OK to submit it. Awesome. He'll know because he got this task complete. You have no more tasks. Awesome. Okay, and I think this is great for you to know, so you can help candidates if for some reason they're like, I don't know where to sign, I don't know what to do. Yes?
Will the candidate also get an email notification that they have?
Yeah, they should have, Spence, you can double check, they should have email notifications set up, the candidate, that it comes. they don't have to be double checking their
Yeah.
candidate at home.
It's defaulted that they would receive an email
Yeah.
notification. Yeah.
And if they get the notifications, and we would encourage with training to do the mobile app, because they'll get push notifications that will pop up kind of like a text with those same notifications.
Yeah.
And a lot of our, especially our younger ones, are on their phone constantly more and can do it all from their phone.
So if they have questions, are they generally gonna go to the Ops Center first for all questions?
I don't know all that, but I'm assuming so. I'm assuming the Ops Center is the initial go-to because it's probably just something real basic. And then
Like
they
this.
could escalate things to you when needed. More exciting details to come. Yes, but I envision that the COEs will be escalated items.
Okay. I was just hopping back over to be the primary recruiter. Let's talk about ready for hire before I demo this one of these last steps. So this is where we're at. The offer letter has been signed. The candidate is ready for hire. So before I click that button that I was about to pull up to move them for ready for hire, the primary recruiter, this is the job of the primary recruiter, to move them forward to ready for hire. Before they do that, they are going to call all the other candidates who have been interviewed, not all the candidates, but the ones who have been interviewed, and let them know they've chosen another candidate, just so they don't get like an automatic, you didn't get the job. They're going to personally call them who were interviewed, explain they've moved forward with another candidate, encourage them to apply to other jobs, and then they'll move the chosen candidate to ready for hire. Also, we want to make sure they sign the offer letter. And so we want to make sure that's our candidate, they sign the offer letter. We don't let go of anyone until they've signed it. That's when we would call and say, they're ready to be moved forward. Okay, so in this step, the primary recruiter confirms the candidate is prepared for hire by verifying all of the approvals, completing all the necessary steps. They're going to make sure everything's good. For internal candidates, they're going to also make sure correct staffing decisions is made to add a job or change a job. And then they're going to move the candidate ready for hire on that candidate grid, candidate profile. They'll just move them forward to ready for hire. If the job has not been unposted, Workday's automatically going to unpost the job and decline all the other candidates. So that's why we want to make sure we let people know before we decline all of them automatically.
If there are multiple openings on a job rec, it won't close the job or unpost it, right?
Correct.
There's multiple positions, yeah.
And we want to
And if
call
you've called back
applicants.
all the other applicants, can you mark that in the system so they don't get another email saying you're declined when the job unposts?
No,
That's a great question, but yeah.
it's delivered, it's automated, so it'll be more like, hey, we enjoyed interviewing with you, we're moving in another direction. I just want to let you know, but you will get an automated
Okay.
email saying the same thing.
Yeah. Okay, let's hop back in, move them forward to ready for hire. So, I've called everyone, called all the other superheroes, said it's going to be Superman. So I'm going to move him forward. So, I can move him forward here from the inbox item, and that's what I'm going to do just because it came to my inbox and I'm seeing it. If I was on that candidate grid that we were showing earlier, you can move them forward from there. Move them forward. I'm going to select ready for hire. You will not be using this revised offer. That's for faculty.
That is there though for behind the scenes on those rare occasions that someone's not happy and they wanna, but we're not putting it out there that it's available. And this is what Spencer was talking about earlier.
Yep, you can mark complete for the reference check. It's giving me an alert just saying that something in the background's still happening. It's probably just because we need to push something, so no worries. Yep. Yeah, reference check. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Awesome. So I've moved them forward to ready for hire. So let's pull up the slides and talk about what that means. Okay, so what that means is they've now been created as a pre-hire in Workday and they're ready to be hired. So if I go search Superman's name in the search bar, he's going to pop up as what we call a pre-hire in Workday. You can see a screenshot here. He's got a pre-hire ID. We can see the source. We can see some information. So then we can go ahead and hire. Next week, we're going to talk about hire and how The comp partner is going to do that, but this is where we're going to leave off. I'll show you really fast if I go ahead and search Superman.
So that ready to hire step is where recruiting ends. So that's the end, and then it jumps over to the hire.
Yep. So now we see Superman exists in Workday, but he's a pre-hire. We can see here that Kelly and Nadia, they're employees. He's just a pre-hire right now, and I can click on him and get a little bit of information. So he is a pre-hire. Awesome. Okay.
Would he show up on the org charts here as a pre-hire? Okay.
Nope. The position is still open because he hasn't been hired.
Okay.
So we'll walk through what hire looks like next week. But yeah, they have to go through the actual hire process to hire them as an employee. Yep, and then that'll kick off onboarding. Awesome, so that ends what we're going to talk about today.
Oh, student.
Yes, for staff, but yeah, let's hop over to student really fast. Close your eyes. I'm going to skip through like really fast, so if you're looking at the screen, I'm going to skip through.
And just be grateful you don't have to sit through all of these.
We got adjunct. Okay, let's talk about student recruiting. So, student recruiting's it's in Workday. Same with faculty. We were explaining this. We're showing staff, but what you're seeing, what you're doing, what you're clicking, it's similar. It's just routing to different places, and it needs different things approved and different things done depending on the employee type. So with student recruiting, it's the same thing. We have a job rec. We have a candidate apply, except it's only internal. Students will only be able to apply internally because they're students.
Which is huge. Internal only, they can't get in unless they're a legit admitted student.
Yeah. And then we will, goes to step 3. So this is kind of those steps that we were looking at earlier. So they will be able, yes.
So no student can apply unless they've been admitted, but they don't necessarily, I mean, if they're admitted, they should be able to get into the system then, even if they're not necessarily here at BYU yet, or?
Yes, yeah, like freshmen, RNs.
Okay, sorry, because we have a lot of people that apply when they're not actually here in school yet, but have been admitted. Okay,
yeah,
great.
But those that have been admitted should get in, and we could probably get rid of that screen part too. So unlike staff, it's not coming, it's not being screened, it's going straight to the department.
Yeah, because they're a student, they exist, yeah.
They're legit.
So they are legit. Awesome. So the primary recruiter is going to have some options here, and this is the big call out. They're able to move the candidate through the recruiting process in whatever fits their needs. If they would like to interview the candidate, they can. If they would like to send them an offer letter, they can, or do a background check. If they just need a student to fill a position, they have a job posting, we need students to position, you could just move them straight to ready for hire. So I'm going to show you what that looks like in Workday, but as Mish says, choose your own adventure with students. I like it.
And Martin, I think this will be something to call out. I don't know, just with fair, equitable kind of hiring processes, if they do something on one job rec, are we going to require them to do the same process for all on the job rec? But this is how it's been designed.
Yeah, there could be some department or policy. Hey, we're going to interview everyone for this position. And we had a call out yesterday. They're like, well, we have some positions that we definitely are going to interview students for, but then we have some that, like 7 or 8 positions that we just like hire them because we need, it's new semester, we need someone to fill the position. But yeah, student recruiting is flexible. You can skip any step in the process to meet your needs.
And again, this is recruiting, direct hire will still exist.
Yes, so this is recruiting. When you created that job rec, you've posted it. If you know the student you want to hire, you can direct hire them, and we're going to do that next week. We're going to direct hire a student, all of us will. Okay, so offer letters really quick. I mentioned this. Students can receive offer letters if the hiring manager and primary recruiter choose to do so. It'll go to the student. They can have an offer letter and sign it like we saw. But sports camps, they will not have the option to receive an offer letter.
Any reason for that specific?
A lot to do with sports camps. Like it's hard enough to get them to sign their contract, let alone the offer letter as well. So period activity pay, they will sign the contract. However, your student hourly, however we choose to do that, they could do an offer letter if they so choose, or just be a direct hire.
Yeah.
So that's a good call out. And there was something else I didn't call out. What was it? Let's see. Yeah, that's
Period activity pay we're going to cover in week 4. And talk about all that. Job changes, period activity pay, all that. Okay, so I'm just going to demo really fast, moving a student through recruiting if they applied for a job, and then we will be all done. So I am going to go hop over to a student. Let's think. It doesn't matter if they have a job. Anyone have like a student they know they want to use? If you saw all of the ones off the top of my head, I can find someone random too.
Tehani Travis.
Let's see. Awesome. Okay, so Tahani, she's logged into Workday. She wants to apply to a new job. So she is going to navigate to the menu and go to Jobs Hub. So that's where she's going to see all of her internal jobs. So she goes to her Job Hub. She's looking through all of these open positions. So she gets shop assistant, training staff. She's like, HRBP, student worker. That's what I want to do. I want to help with HRBP stuff. That sounds super fun.
So this view will show you all the recent jobs for everybody. Ultimately, in the menu Job Hub, there should be a Find Job student report that will get them into exactly what.
Yeah, they can filter down. Yeah, that's a good call. Thank you. I knew what I was looking for. So she wants to do this HRP student worker job. So she's going to click View Job. She sees, yep, it's part-time. She can see the compensation. There would be a job description here. All of the information she needs to see. If there's any specifications on what she needs to do before she applies, or if she needs a cover letter, she can see the hiring team as well and job details. Okay, so she's going to go ahead and click Apply. And this is where, give it 1 second. Let me go back. Okay. There we go. Let me expand. Should be able to scroll here, right?
Yes.
Yes. This is where she would apply. Sorry for the leaving you on the edge of your seat. This is where she would apply. So all of this information is coming over while I try again. So if she has information in her worker profile, we're going to talk about talent in week 5. It would all pull over here for her, so she doesn't have to fill in anything.
How old is your tenant? Like what data is it pulling in?
We refreshed a few months ago. Let me try one more time. If not, I actually have someone who's already applied, and we can just move from there.
She turned to stop.
Yeah, let's just do that. Sorry, we're gonna be a new student. Okay, so she attached her resume and she applied. So we're moving to a new student though. I've already applied as a student, so we don't have to walk through that again. I'm sorry about that. That makes sense to everyone, right? She's applied. So.
And the questionnaire looks like it does today, Martin. I'm going to switch out daytime continuing and just put student. Yeah, but it looks very short.
Let's do it one more time so we can look at it. Let's see if I can find a student. Oh, sorry. From. No, that's actually fine. Let me think. Give me 1 second.
Who are you thinking of?
I'm just thinking of a student because the student didn't work.
Can I get Louise just a tiny bit?
Yes.
Can somebody apply for a student job who isn't a student right now? Like we often have in May and June, when graduates from high school are applying because they're going to be students.
If they're admitted to BYU, yes, they can. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Good question.
Give me 1 second. Okay. I'm going to pull this over. Give me 1 second while I set this up.
Okay. And while we're doing that, I have something I can share.
Yeah, perfect.
So a big call out is for student, they're going to be super generic. So student worker 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, period, student worker, period activity pay, because their wage grid is set on those job profiles. So not a whole lot of detail is gonna pull through. So we need to start encouraging our departments to have a bank of all their job descriptions. Okay.
That's a good call out.
Yes, and then on the staffing side, ultimately, we were thinking job family would hold somewhat job description there, and then it will pull in all over. But because of evaluation, changes, tweaks and different things, it's a big job for comp. So on the staffing side too, we want to encourage them to have a bank of all their job descriptions. When they create the job rec, they can then copy paste it into the position description. Yeah, so everyone to start doing that now, because when we go live, no more PeopleSoft. Yeah, and I think a lot of them do that.
Are you talking posting text?
Posting, yes, yes. What they want in the posting, start creating their own bank that they can use. Once they, for those that heavy users, power users, if they create it once, they can copy job recs, but just so that they feel prepared if they can have those stashed away to use.
So you're talking about what it is they'll put to advertise the job
Yes.
in the job rec. 'Cause
Yes.
A lot of them don't actually have a position description per
The
se for all the
full-
students, but whatever it is they want to
For the
post, they need to
posting.
have that ready.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, so say posting texts now.
Yes.
If you like,
correct.
download into the new posting text.
The job descriptions are different than job ads.
Right.
Which should be on the position.
That's what I say, posting text, or job ads.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay, I think we're ready. Sorry, little glitch. Okay, I am now Rebecca. Rebecca, she heard about this job and she was like, I gotta apply. But let's look through this really fast. She can browse jobs through here and she can filter them. So she can filter down maybe by time type or different things, location if she knows. As well, she could see in the overview any recent applications she submitted. She has some suggested filters, find job students.
So that's the report that Mish was talking about, like that find job students is a custom delivered report that only shows student jobs, and that's really helpful.
Do you have an announcement? Okay, awesome. So here's popping up this HRBP student worker one. She's got to apply. Awesome. So she clicks this apply button. Awesome. So here's her quick apply so she could drop a file.
That'll come from her profile.
Let me go.
Can her experience be loaded in her profile so it's automatically pulling?
It can, or they can dump a resume and that will go into her profile.
Okay, so Mish, maybe, so she applied from the report, it looked a little bit different, but if she applies here, this is the normal view where she can add it. Is it just two different views? Is there a view you suggest they use? Or is that something that we fix? So you see the different view I had?
With the resume option?
Yeah.
Find jobs students is the best one because we're finding that if there's like an evergreen or something, they would probably be diverted to our staff.
I see.
Yes.
So when she goes to find job students, I'm gonna go back to this job hubs. She goes find job students. Her application looks a little bit different than the one I pulled up where she's applying. If she clicks on this HRBP, she applies. So that's why I pulled up the one I've usually seen. It's a quick apply. So just a different view. You see I'm seeing different views. Yeah, no worries. So she could drop her resume. She could enter in her work experience. Let's see if it makes me enter anything. I'm gonna skip past all this. Here's the application questions. That's what we wanted to show. They're on both. The one I pulled up looked different. Everything is the same. These application questions are the same. Are you a day continuing BYU student enrolled in the minimum number of credit hours? Yes. Do you have any relatives? No. I don't want another question. Do you have the legal right to work in the US? Yes. I'm gonna click next. No, I have not been convicted. Gonna click next, and then I'm gonna submit this. This would have all of the information I entered. I didn't enter any experience, resume, anything like that. Okay, my application has been submitted, so it's gonna go to the primary recruiter to move them forward through the recruiting process. So I'm hopping over as Harper so she can view that application, and we'll take a look at what I was saying where you can move them forward in any direction you want. So Rebecca has applied. I get this inbox item. I can also see it from the job rec view that we've seen. I'm just going to open it from here just because it's in my inbox. And here when I click move forward, this is the big call out. You can interview. You can move them to interview, offer, background check, assessment, or ready for hire. So if we know that Rebecca is the person we want to hire, we'll just move her straight to ready for hire. If we want to do an interview, I'll select interview, and I can go from there and just kind of navigate it that way. Any questions about this and student recruiting? Okay, awesome. Thank you. Sorry we had to apply as a couple different students. Thank you for your patience. So that is student recruiting. It's awesome. I think it's going to fit a lot of people's needs, allow them to be able to do what's necessary for their department. Okay, next week we're talking about hire. So we're all going to walk through the hire process, direct hire student, and then onboarding. And then I think we have Lindsay here. She might have an announcement and we'll be all done.